You're watching the Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championship, brought to you by our 2023 partners.
Good morning, cricket fans of America. This is your game, the 2023 Sunoco Minor League Cricket Championships, presented and seasoned by Lakshmi House of Spices. We're coming to you live from the Santa Clara Cricket Club, where we've got a Bay Area Derby for all the marbles. Number 1 and number 2 in the division, the 7-1 East Bay Blazers versus the 6-2 Silicon Valley Strikers. Both teams assured themselves a participation in the 2023 MILC playoffs with wins last weekend, but only one of them is going to get to go to the Super 8s in Dallas without having to duke it out next weekend for their spot. East Bay start with the advantage courtesy their victory over Golden State Grizzlies yesterday on this ground. With a win this morning, the Blazers can claim the division title for the first time in team history. The third different division winner, by the way, in the West in 3 years of Sunoco Minor League Cricket, if it comes to pass. But if Silicon Valley can take round 1 between these Titans, they'll tie up the division standings and force a winner-take-all match on Monday back in Morgan Hill. East Bay have won the toss and have elected to bowl first under cool, overcast conditions here in Santa Clara. And so with Lahiru Milanta and Pranay Suri striding to the crease for the Strikers, let's take a moment and meet the teams. For the Strikers, it is just one change to the lineup that they ran out 6 days ago up in Morgan Hill against the San Diego Surf Riders, and that is Uman Parikh in for the first time. It'll be his first time in the 11 since September 25th, 2021. He enters in place of Arsh Butch. Otherwise, it's as you were, and with Butch not in the 11 today, that brings about the need for another opener to partner Lahiru Milanta. Suri opening for the second time this season. Over on the East Bay side, a pair of changes, both the bowling attack, so we'll see it right out of the gate. Rusty Theron and Nawaz Khan in. That's a pair of right-arm pacers. They are in the 11 in place of Karmai LaRue and Abhishek Paradkar, who both were in the 11 yesterday. They are a pair of left-arm pacers, and I'm honestly quite interested to see how that works out. Feels a little bit flummoxing given the way that Milanta and Graham have batted against righties versus lefties. I would have thought perhaps you'd want to keep at least one of LaRue or Paradkar in the side. Milanta's got a 126 versus 82 strike rate split righty versus lefty. Graham, 105 striking against righties, but 2 off 7 and 1 wicket lost against left armers. So interesting to see that decision, perhaps aimed at getting Jariwala and Jayasuriya late, who have lost all of their wickets against pace, to righties. But right out of the gate, a bit of a surprise at the top of the power play. It's going to be Sanjay Krishnamurthy taking the new ball. This is a tactic that East Bay made use of last season more frequently with Mark Dayal. But it will be Sanjay who's practicing his run up here as Lahiru Milanta gets himself set. But Krishnamurthy has been a part of a very good power play bowling unit here for East Bay Blazers. They have, coming into the weekend, the 4th best strike rate in minor league cricket inside the power play, and yesterday took 4 wickets for just 19 runs. First delivery is at Lahiru Milanta, tapped into the offside, and that a dot ball to start for Sanjay. Second delivery, a little bit of turn, or perhaps just going along with the arm away from Milanta as the ball targeted the hypothetical 4th stump. Krishnamurthy currently tied for 7th in wickets in minor league cricket with 14. That one tapped right back past his outstretched left hand. Protection, though, in the deep. Is presently at mid-wicket and at long on, so Vikash Mohan, no problem there to pick that up. Lahiru Milanta, and by extension, Silicon Valley Strikers underway. That will bring Pranay Suri on strike. He has opened once this season, didn't bat last weekend in the pair of matches between the SoCal sides. Understandable in the first match. Silicon Valley only lost 1 wicket during the chase. First delivery evades the bat of Pranay Suri and is straight into the gloves of Aditya Ganesh behind. And that one is a shout for LBW, and it is given by the umpire Sundaram Subramanian, who's partnering with Shailendra Raj today. And that is all for Pranay Suri. He has a high of 21 this season, but every other outing he has had has ended in single digits. This one ends in a 2-ball duck as Sanjay Krishnamurthy pounds the pads of the Silicon Valley captain. Let's get a look at the replay here. We told you, 4th in MILC in strike rate. And that is about as plumb as it gets. Almost took off the top of off stump after the deflection, but for sure looked like it was going right into leg stump about 2/3 of the way up. No argument. That'll be all for Suri. Shehan Jayasuriya coming in, and Sanjay Krishnamurthy continues to move up that board. His 15th wicket of the season. Average was 12.7 coming in. That's going to dip even further. So we get a look at that one. Of course, with the angle, makes it look like it might have been impacting outside leg, but that is largely because of the angle of the camera as it's set up. So Shehan Jayasuriya strides in, and it's these two right here that are going to be an interesting matchup for the left arm spin heavy attack of the East Bay Blazers. I talked a little bit with Nate Hayes in this week's minor league cricket show about this exact matchup. You can see right out of the gate, East Bay not afraid to deploy the lefty spinners at the likes of Milanta and Jayasuriya. Final delivery of the over here coming up to Shehan, and he'll tap that one back behind point and race back. A single run and a wicket taken. Pranay Suri, a short-lived stay at the crease. Silicon Valley 1 for 1 through 1.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Ball in the hands of Rusty Theron from the schoolhouse end of the ground. And he'll be facing down the remaining opener, Lahira Milanta, currently in the crosshairs. Starting to mention, though, this lefty spin issue. We've seen it repeatedly this season, that teams, even teams that rely quite heavily on lefty spinners, like the Golden State Grizzlies with Vatsal Vagela, have deliberately held them out of the attack when Lahira Milanta has been out there at the crease. And you can understand why. His strike rate this season against spin turning away from him, that would be leg spin or lefty spin. Correction, that'll be spin turning into him since he's a left-hander himself. Strike rate of 191 against those kinds of spin. And he's going to immediately have runs against Rusty Theron as he works this one behind square. That'll be a pair. This ball picked up by Nawaz Khan, one of the two new entrants to the side. Jayasuriya, for his part, at the other end. His highest strike rate also coming against lefty spinners of 138. And so we saw that strategy with Golden State, similarly with SoCal. East Bay leaning into what works for them. Theron over the wicket. That's going to be run down to third man. There is protection back there, so it'll just be a single for Milanta. Wins they have picked up have both been absolute nail biters. Jayasuriya looking to run that to third man, but it's a little bit wider than he intended. Sanjay with the stop inside the circle. Jayasuriya, somebody with absolutely no qualms about playing the ball back behind him. That was on full display with the Seattle Orcas back in Major League Cricket. That one right back to Rusty Theron. He'll get his left hand to it. Knocks that down and keeps Jayasuriya rooted to his crease and still stuck on zero. Just the way you draw it up. Any baseball player knows you don't reach out your pitching hand, your throwing hand, to try to stop a hot shot. Theron well-versed, the 38-year-old, originally from Vereniging, South Africa. Speaking of those who had good spells in Major League Cricket, 5 wickets for him including 2 in the first over of the first ever run chase for Texas Super Kings. He's hoping to head back to Dallas soon. Swing and a miss. Good looking line there from Rusty Theron, but appears to have overstepped the line, and so Shailendra Raj has indicated a no ball. So this will be a free hit, and perhaps exactly the thing that Shehan Jayasuriya needs in order to get himself on the move. To have some part of your front foot behind that line, the front of the popping crease, and Theron did not. That is a pickup shot that will not be picked up particularly long, and the free hit goes wanting. East Bay captain Angie Pereira at mid-off up to retrieve that. Free hits can go that way. Sometimes you crush them and chase them for a while. Other times you take the big rip and just don't connect, and it ends up being a dot. Very rarely anything in between. That one is going to beat the dive on the infield at extra cover. And that'll be a pair of runs, assuming the throw doesn't beat Milantha back at the bowler's end. Aggressive running there to try to take that double, and that is how the over will end. Couple of dots, a no ball. It ends up being a run, a ball 6 off the second over. Silicon Valley 7 for the loss of 1. Krishnamurthy with just the 1 over to start things off. They're going to make a change in bowling at the Homestead Road end, and that will be Hari Krishna Nair, the under-19 off-spinner. And of course, fielding changes all around here, as with Lahiru Milantha on strike. Again, long on and mid-wicket, the deep men. Good use of the feet there by Milantha. That was briefly airborne. You hear the howls of catch it. Might have needed to already be lying down on the ground to get any hand to that one before it reached the grass here in Santa Clara, but it is a single for Milantha, and Silicon Valley will look to rotate strike. No changes to the field setting, and Jayasuriya will find the gap inside the circle at mid-wicket and pick up a single for himself. David White, the deep man there, you see in the shot. White, of course, with a big part to play later on in the run chase as East Bay look to lock up a division title today and a trip to Texas. That is shot straight back past the hand of Hari Nair. Long run for Vikash Mohan, but he will make the ground. And a good throw, more or less right on the stumps to try to nail Milantha, and that bit of movement from Vikash is going to hold Lahiru to just a single off that ball. Need some StatCast exit velo as we are live here. Worked off the outside, this time beating a wider mid-off in Nawaz Khan, and that's going to run to the boundary for the first 4 of today's encounter. Shehan Jayasuriya well and truly underway as he whacks that one off of Hari Krishna Nair. Good use of the feet to make some room. And that one coming right into your living room here as Nair gets ready for the 5th delivery of the over. Tap to Rusty Theron, thought about taking a quick single, thought better of it. Shahan so far this season, a 38.6 average, 18th best in minor league cricket. That one's coming straight to our commentary position and has just enough Sunoco to make it to the boundary rope. And a pair of fours on the last two deliveries. A bit of joy to be found for the men in two-tone blue off the young off-spinner. And again, Jayasuriya making use of the feet to make enough room to play that ball in. And the quick grass here at Santa Clara, not an obstacle. 18 for the loss of one. Rusty Theron continues from the schoolhouse end. First delivery to Milantha's run off the edge of the bat. Chance for a run out as he thought about taking a quick single and then turn tail. Krishnamurthy with two stumps to throw at, not able to strike timber. We mentioned the magic number for Silicon Valley. They are undefeated when Milantha scores at least 12 runs. When he doesn't get there, 2-2, and even the good two were headaches. Chance to run him out could have been huge. That one is in the air, headed in our direction again, and that is going to be a 6, and there is the 12 runs for Lahira Milantha. The bellwether total achieved with a brilliant, is it scoop, is it swat? Let's give it a look. Gets to that one as it rises up, the bouncer from Theron in front of Milantha's face. And he cranks that one over the boundary rope. That's one I'll tell you as a commentator where the temptation to watch the ball in the monitor gets the better of you, because that was not far from our station. There was an absolute moment of panic trying to sight the ball and figure out if I needed to protect anything. That is the end of Lahira Milantha on 12 runs. A feathered edge as he thought about playing a ball a little wider. Another bouncer up at chest height from Theron. And it nestles into the gloves of Aditya Ganesh. And Milantha is done. 12 off 10 for him. And he goes boom, then gone. Get a look here at Rusty Theron. And again, just the sheepish attempt to play at that. Should have thought better of it, and my apologies. I've been identifying the wrong wicketkeeper. It is Saideep Ganesh now wearing the gloves for the East Bay Blazers, and he's the one that makes that catch. So this is going to be interesting. Mentioned before that the cutoff I had was 12. Now, admittedly, I could have placed that, I believe, anywhere from 12 to 30 when I came up with that number. In the two losses, Milantha has been held to 0 and 11. They have won a game in which he scored 1 and a game in which he's had a duck. The other 4 victories, he has gone for 71, 32, 63, and 71 not out. So we're going to find out if 12 really is the magic number, or if it was somewhere north of there but south of 32. Either way, Rahul Jariwala in at 4 for the Silicon Valley Strikers. 2 wickets down inside the power play, one of the best units in minor league cricket at taking wickets inside the first 6 overs. Is at it again. They took 4 yesterday while holding Golden State to just 19 runs, and that chase was almost over before it really had a chance to begin. Carmine LaRue taking 3 in that one. Targeting the stumps immediately. Rusty forcing Rahul into a defensive mode. He taps that just behind square for a single, and he's off the mark. Jariwala, the 19-year-old from Fremont. On a pretty good run of form right now. It'll be Jayasuriya to face this one. Another feathered potential edge. Nothing on the ball this time from Jayasuriya. Theron certainly wanted it. Let's get a look at this one. Oof. Very close. Jayasuriya perhaps a little beaten for pace and maybe lucky for that fact. That one pounded into the ground, but straight to the man at extra cover. David White inside the circle. And that's a great over for Theron, save for the one Lahiro Milanta 6. He comes right back and gets him on the next delivery. Silicon Valley through 4 overs, 25 for 2.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले। हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
The young man Jariwala will be on strike to start this next over, and it looks like he will be facing off with Sanjay Krishnamurthy. We had one over from the Homestead Road end from Hari Krishna Nair. That one didn't go so hot towards the end, a couple of boundary shots. And certainly if Krishnamurthy can keep Jariwala on strike, Jayasuriya's recent success against left arm spin and documented historical success against left arm spin can somewhat be negated. Jariwala, we mentioned, a good looking run of form as of late. 43 not out, then 37, then 24 in his last 3 innings. And he's going to get started against Krishnamurthy with a bang, as that one is wide of the long of the protection at long off. Bit of a chase underway, and it'll be a pair of runs for Rahul. Sanjay with that excellent first over of work as he took the wicket of Pranay Suri LBW and gave up just a single to Milanta. That one worked to square leg. Long run from back of the boundary. And for that matter, from fine leg. Ganesh wins that race with Hari Krishna Nair and gets it in for just a single. Aditya Ganesh there, like Jariwala, somebody who is not keeping wicket now after having done so through most of the first half of the season, as that's a pickup shot from Shahan Jayasuriya. And he will scorch that one over the top of Rusty Theron at backward square for a 4. Jayasuriya starting to get a bit of a move on. Sanjay drifting just a little bit too close to the leg stump. And this is why you generally like to keep lefty spin away from him. It's going to be interesting to see when Angie Pereira bowls himself. He's going to stick with Sanjay, who's been so economical in the power play. That is airborne, but not long enough to get to Pereira. Off the bat here against the slate gray sky, an illusion that might have been headed for Nawaz Khan at mid-off. Now uses the feet, pops this one up. That one may be playable for Khan. Long run, and he makes the catch. Shahan Jayasuriya is done. Sanjay Krishnamurthy strikes again. 3 wickets down inside the power play. This East Bay unit just keeps finding a way. For Krishnamurthy, his second wicket here inside the power play. 8 of his 16 on the season have come in these situations. Just an arm ball here that Jayasuriya moves for, maybe predicting a little bit of turn that never came. And he edges that one up in the air. It was a long run, though, here for Nawaz Khan. But that is textbook. Catch it right underneath your chin. Squeeze it and then celebrate. Yet again, moments after a boundary, Silicon Valley losing the wicket of that batter. Milantha hit a 6 and then was immediately gone, caught behind. Shehan Jayasuriya, a hard slapped 4, followed 2 balls later by the taking of his wicket. And we have here on the screen, it's showing Srinivas Raghavan into bat here for East Bay Blazers. That is a bit of a surprise. But they may now be in something of stall mode to try to make sure that they don't put in the likes of Gary Graham or Ravinder Pal Singh earlier than they'd like. So Srini Raghavan in here. Ooh, Krishnamurthy wanted the LBW, perhaps drifting down leg, as he looked to claim a 3rd wicket in just 2 overs inside the power play. Let's get a look at this one. Raghavan setting up on leg stump, and that certainly appeared to be going down leg after impact. So no real drama, no real controversy there, but what an over from Krishnamurthy. The 4 from Jayasuriya, but comes right back and claims his wicket. Silicon Valley 32 for 3 through 5.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Three wickets down inside the power play. East Bay doing work inside the first 6 overs for the 2nd day running. It's going to be Nawaz Khan coming from the schoolhouse and replacing Rusty Theron. Rahul Jariwala on strike. Srini Raghavan into the match early. He's got 15 runs on the season. His 11 off 12 against SoCal in the opener. His highest since 13 in the first year. That is all for Jariwala. Nawaz Khan blows up the stumps. And for the 2nd day in a row, East Bay have claimed 4 inside the power play. We wondered a little bit about the strategy of putting in left arm, or rather right arm pacers in place of the lefties against this lineup, but wonder no more. What an entry for Nawaz Khan. Let's get a look at this delivery. Immediately looking to challenge him, and that is just a perfect Yorker right at the base of leg stump. Jariwala unable to even throw a shot at that one. And Silicon Valley's batting lineup right now in about as much disarray as Jariwala's stumps wound up. Nawaz Khan, stand and deliver for him. His 8th wicket of the season. He's been taking them at about 20 runs per. And now we will see Ravinder Pal Singh to partner Srini Raghavan. Taking a look down the lineup here for Silicon Valley strikers. At this point, they do still have the closers Gary Graham and Colin Archibald in the shed. Saurabh Netravalkar has been oddly useful this season. He came into the year with just 33 runs scored in 2 seasons of minor league cricket action, and early in the year, 36 off 36. Made him at the time the 5th leading scorer on the team, and he's still yet to lose his wicket. Past that, Thadani and the 2023 debutant Umang Parikh starting to get a little bare in that cupboard. Under the green Vancouver Knights lid, Silicon Valley are going to be looking for a performance from Ravinder Pal Singh. Here comes Khan. Another Yorker. This one worked off the pads neatly. It's going to hold up in the grass here and give Vikash Mohan time to chase it down at fine leg, and that'll be a pair to get Ravi underway. Ravinder Pal Singh Currently a 106 strike rate and a 17.7 average. Most of that on the basis of a couple of much better performances recently. Started his season with 2 ducks, but then a 15 off 15, and then a match-winning 38 not out off 32 against San Diego. Nawaz keeping his length very full here through the first 3 deliveries of this over. Hard to argue with the results, a wicket and a dot on either side of a 2. That Yorker to dismiss Jadiwala was a thing of beauty. Pulls his length back a little bit here, and Singh will run that to the man at mid-wicket. No run on there. Khan, as we said, came in to play today with 7 wickets at just under 20 per and an economy at 7.72. Pair of righties at the crease. He's largely been more effective against left-handers, but so effective so far. That one run back again to fine leg. Vikash Mohan inside the circle will hold Ravi Singh to a single this time. Just 1 ball left in the power play. 1 ball with the fielding restrictions in place. Deep protection against Srini Raghavan is at mid-wicket and at third man. Last ball of the Khan over. Targeting 4th stump, good looking length. Fended away, but another dot ball to finish here. Just 3 off of it. And another wicket down. Rahul Jadiwala clean bowled on the first delivery of the over. Power play done and dusted. 35 for the loss of 4. We're going to take a look at the wickets taken so far. An active first 6 overs for East Bay bowlers. As we said, 19 for 4 yesterday, a little more expensive today, but run a ball and 4 wickets down, you feel pretty good. And it started early here. Sanjay Krishnamurthy able to get rid of Pranay Suri with this one, an arm ball that just kept its line true towards the top of leg stump. Clipped the pad on the way through, and that was all for Pranay Suri. Rusty Theron, just after being victimized by a 6 over his shoulder by Lahiru Milantha, would pick up the outside edge for that wicket. Krishnamurthy, similar story, victimized for a 4 against Jayasuriya, but then picks up the outside edge. Another very effective arm ball, this one nestling into the hands of Nawaz Khan after a long run. And then Nawaz himself would take the ball and do this. Bang! Leg stump. Not dislodged, but certainly made ill at ease by that Yorker from Nawaz Khan. And that was the 4th wicket down here inside the power play. A bit of rebuilding necessary for Silicon Valley Strikers if they're going to try to take the Western Division title race down to the final day, even a day later than we initially anticipated. Few moves in the schedule you may have noticed in communications from the minor league cricket social channels. It's, of course, MILC USA on Instagram, at MIL Cricket on Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called. And, of course, the MLC Network on YouTube, but you know that already. You're here. But it'll be Monday when these 2 teams meet again instead of Sunday afternoon as initially planned. Other 2 games going on this week here in Santa Clara are going to involve the Golden State Grizzlies and the Seattle Thunderbolts. One of those at 2:15 today, and the other at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And those are set to decide the 3rd participant from the Western Division in the MILC playoffs. Angie Pereira into the attack, and the first delivery to him is run down for an opportunity for a run out, and gone at the non-striker's end. Beautifully handled by the men in the field. That is going to be the end for Srini Raghavan. A 2-ball duck. And he has run out trying to complete that 2nd run. Hit just a little bit too hard by Ravi Singh into the outfield. Ball run to square leg, maybe a little behind square. We'll see here the sprint in, the pickup from the youngster Hari Krishnan Nair, and a brilliant throw down to Angelo Pereira, makes the catch and spikes it into the stumps. Angie Pereira doesn't get that one in his wickets column, but he'll gladly take it in the fielding column. And the run out is going to put Gary Graham into this match in just the 7th over. And that is a rare situation for Silicon Valley strikers. Tell you a bit about Graham's role through the years. So that one is tapped by Ravi Singh to the side of Pereira. A little bit of scoreboard surgery is going to be necessary eventually there, as they're presently showing. No, my mistake. I had it wrong. It's Ravi Singh who is gone. No, it is Ravi Singh. They've swapped out the helmets, which briefly confused me. So we had that correct. Ravi Singh still in. Srini Raghavan sent to the pavilion after they took a single. And sooner or later, the scoreboard is going to catch up with that. Gary Graham at the non-striker's end. Angie Pereira dealing dots at the moment. Another one bunted into the surface. That one tapped back past Pereira. Of course, deep protection all over the place now for East Bay Blazers with the fielding restrictions released. And that is going to be all for the over. Just 2 runs off of it. And the wicket via run out of Srini Raghavan. Silicon Valley strikers now, we'll do the math, 37 for 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Ravi Singh on strike as we start the 8th over. Silicon Valley in a heap of trouble right now in their first innings. And Graham has strayed quite a ways from the stumps. A clean pickup from Theron at mid-off, or mid-on rather, and it might have been on. Graham standing over there at the non-striker's end, probably where East Bay would like him. Singh opens the face of the bat. It's going to be another dot ball here as East Bay continue to apply pressure. Just one expensive over so far in this match. It was the 11 of Hari Krishnan Nair. That over started fine enough, but a pair of boundaries late made it costly. But both of the 7-run overs from Theron and Krishnamurthy involved a key wicket. First Milanta, then Jayasuriya. Otherwise, 1-6-3-2, and so far nothing off this over. That is going to be a leg side wide. Ravi Singh lucky not to have gotten any willow on that. It will be interesting to see if we see a bit of CP Rizwan or a bit more of Pereira. We've already seen that. Ravi Singh has lost his wicket all 3 times this season to spin turning away. Fended at that one, buzzing the top of the hypothetical 4th stump. Nawaz Khan, a tight line and a good length. already gotten one caught behind today. That was how Lahir Milanta was dismissed from the action. That's in the air, could be a chance. Might split the two fielders in the deep and will land in front of the both of them, Vikash Mohan and David White. Dangerous shot hanging up there in the Santa Clara clouds for quite a while. But it lands safely for a single. Nawaz Khan, not always known for economy, more of somebody who comes in and strikes, particularly at the death, even amidst giving up runs. Right now, just 5 off his first 10 deliveries. And the valuable wicket of Rahul Jariwala. First ball faced by Gary Graham, fired into the covers, claimed by Aditi Ganesh. Graham's come back to earth a little bit after last season claiming the 6th best strike rate in minor league cricket among batters that faced or that scored at least 50 runs. This season, a 94 strike rate and an average just a hair under 10. Big rip at that one, does not make contact into the gloves of Sadeep Ganesh. And that is going to do it for the 8th over. Just a single and a wide from it. Nawaz Khan continuing to bowl very, very well from the schoolhouse end. 8 overs down, 39 for the loss of 5.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Ravi Singh on strike to start the 9th over. And another howl for LBW, nothing given by Sundaram Subramanian. As Angie Pereira continues from the Homestead Road end. Just 2 off his first over. Another one tapped to mid-on. Pereira, a fantastic weekend in Morgan Hill against the Southern California sides. 3 for 13 and then 3 for 18 against SoCal and San Diego. Currently with 7 wickets at 13 runs per. Wide delivery down the leg side on that one. That'll need to be rebowled. Targeting the stumps, they'll look to run a quick single, thrown up with it, but he'll eat it. Rusty Theron there with a wicket already today, and of course, fresh from the heroics with the bat to close out that victory on Sunday that put East Bay into the postseason. It's another leg side wide. When Gary Graham gets on strike from that side, even with the difficulties he's had this season finding rhythm, you just check to see where your car's parked, just to make sure you're okay. That one is rifled right back past Pereira, closing like pincers, Mohan and Tadic here, and long on and long off. They'll hold him to just a 2. Another one tapped here to the offside. Final delivery of the Pereira over. Targeting the feet of Gary Graham, looking to make him uncomfortable. And it's just the 3 off the bat, a couple of wides as well. 5 from the over, 44 for the loss of 5 through 9.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Silicon Valley Strikers in rebuild mode after losing 5 wickets for just 36 runs through the first 37 balls of today's encounter. It's Ravi Singh with 7 off 17. And Gary Graham just underway after a 2 that he shot straight past Angelo Pereira. Seems like Gary might be in the need of some repairs or perhaps just fresh pair as it works out. Looks like they're going to re-shoe the man. Once he's got that, we'll get back underway. Of course, today's match, not the only one with big playoff implications here in minor league cricket. Earlier today, New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers took care of the Manhattan Yorkers by 7 wickets. Held them to 66 for 8 on the ever difficult Mercer Park pitch. It did take them nearly 17 overs to pick up their 67, but did so for the loss of 3 rather comfortably. For now, that's got New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers taking over 3rd place to be joined by the winner of the Empire State New England game later on today. For the time being, a net run rate advantage for the Cavs. Yorkers aren't mathematically out, but very nearly so, as we see the first ball from CP Rizwan, the leg spinner, into the team last weekend. The UAE T20I captain as of this time last year. That is popped up by Ravi Singh, and nearly a chance for Saideep Ganesh. He'll chase that one down back behind his own stumps. And a single here for Ravi Singh, but Saideep's facing away from us, and I still feel like I could see his eyes get huge when that ball popped up. Manhattan Yorkers aren't mathematically out, but they are in a big net run rate hole. They would have to smash the Stallions tomorrow and hope that the Philadelphians knock off New Jersey. Somerset. Graham stings that one to long off. Single for him. That Eastern Division over in the Atlantic Conference, the only one that entered the week with all 6 teams still alive for a playoff berth. Yorkers really needed to win that one, though, to have a realistic chance. A lot of flight on that one, but it ends up being a half volley for Ravi Singh. Doesn't get all of it, but he will run a single. Getting started in the next 15 to 20 minutes here. Philadelphians and Stallions, as well as Empire State Titans and New England Eagles, the other 2 games in the Eastern Division. Philadelphians looking to clinch their division title with a victory as well. And briefly shouts here, and I had to be sure to restrain myself as we see the Zing Bales light up, but those were dislodged by Saideep Ganesh, not by this ball from CP Rizwan. You can see very firmly rooted the foot of Gary Graham, so the appeal for the stumping short-lived and not particularly vociferous. Rizwan flirting with the tram line there, but all fine for Shailendra Raj. It's a tight over for CP. 2 off the bat, 1 off the legs, 47 for the loss of 5 through 10.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Change of ends for Rusty Theron as he comes back for the 11th over. Bit of a rarity for him to bowl outside of the power play or the death overs. That's a tap, looking for the quick single. Couldn't get the clean pickup there as Hamza Tariq came racing in. Tariq tossing that one back as he rues what could have been to Rusty Theron, who two of them both familiar with late game heroics, trying to combine for some mid-game heroics here. That one worked off the feet of Gary Graham. Rusty targeting the stumps. That'll go down to fine leg where Nawaz Khan is patrolling. And singles are not going to get it done here for Silicon Valley to build a defendable total here. Waiting for somebody to get it going. Of course, with Gary Graham, it can go boom boom, but that goes for both the ball off the bat and the ball off the stumps. It's a high-risk proposition, not used to coming into a match quite this early for Silicon Valley. Knocked down by Ravi Singh. Theron's first 2 overs from the schoolhouse end went for 6 and for 7. It was in that second one, though, that he claimed the wicket of Lahiru Milanta on a caught behind. Pressure mounting on Ravi Singh, just 9 off 22 so far. Fiddles that one to the man at cover. That'll be a quick single. A 50 up for Silicon Valley here in the 11th over. For Theron, just the second over he has bowled this season outside the power play and the death overs. Came in with 24 overs on the season, 12 of them in the power play, 11 at the death. That one goes down the leg side, gets away from Sadeep Ganesh. The throw will go down to the bowler's end, and it's going to end up being a wide along with 2 extras on top of that. Bit of a rush of blood to the head there from Sadeep Ganesh as he looked to run out Gary Graham. Can understand wanting to take care of him there as that throw comes in, and Rusty Theron saying, come on, we don't need that right now. Don't give him runs. Takes a couple of clicks off of that one, and Theron induces the early throw of the shot from Gary Graham. Pace off, such a weapon in this league, especially if the wicket's got a little bit of grip. Graham ordinarily delighted to face off with right arm pace this season. So far, still looking for that first good contact. Taps that one to the onside. They'll take a quick single off the final delivery of the 11th. And Gary Graham will retain the strike when we come back for the 12th. Silicon Valley 53, make it 54 for the loss of 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Calls of encouragement coming from the assembled spectators here in Santa Clara. Looking for Gary Graham to put on a big innings. His men need it. If East Bay come out victorious today, Silicon Valley is guaranteed to be the host of the 2-versus-3 playoff next weekend. Whether it would be another intra-NorCal rivalry with the Golden State Grizzlies or a rematch of last season's Pacific Conference Championship match with the Seattle Thunderbolts, well, that all remains to be decided over the course of the next roughly 26 hours. Under edge from Graham, that's going to scoot by Sadeep Ganesh. In fact, no under edge at all. That's just a lack of bounce, making it a challenging collect for Sadeep. A bye run here on the first with CP Rizwan continuing from the schoolhouse end. Rizwan's gotten 3 overs each of his first 3 appearances here. That one guided wide of Hamza Tariq. Good quick feet to move himself into position to collect that, just a single. In those 3 overs each time, 13, 25, and 13 runs conceded. So very economical twice. As a shout for LBW from CP Rizwan, looked at least live like height might have been an issue. Tough to tell from that particular angle. Huge looping ball with flight. That is work to the man at long on, Nawaz Khan. Rizwan last week bowled a ball that I swear had to have gotten at least 15 feet in the air. It's a full toss to Harpreet Singh. You could see it in the slow-mo replay. Out of his hand, and then upon the moment of contact, just almost mouthing, "Oh no." This time a little more effective. This one flatter. Run back to Hamza behind point. Another dot here. Rizwan keeping it very tight here in his 2 overs of work. Just the 4 from it along with the bye. Very flat this time and slapped to mid-wicket by Ravi Singh. That'll be a single off the final ball. Singh will keep strike for the 13th. Just 4 from the over, 58 for the loss of 5.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
.58 for 5, just 8 overs left to build a total worthy of defense, although they always say you can't judge a pitch until both teams have batted on it. Obviously, tends to be more of a statement for a test match because once 2 teams have batted on it in a T20, game over. But it will be interesting to see as the second innings gets underway whether East Bay have a similar amount of difficulty batting on this surface. Certainly they made it look like a challenging one with ball in hand yesterday against the Grizzlies, held them under a run a ball in that chase. They only put up 140 themselves, though. That one worked behind square, actually all the way down to fine leg. Quick single for Ravi Singh. And here comes Gary Graham, and everybody, again, thinks over where they parked. For my part, I am at a deep, 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 deep cow corner. First delivery from the lefty spinner, Sanjay Krishnamurthy to Gary Graham. A dot ball worked to the offside. That first run of this over, a leg by. Opens up in a nice lean back by Graham, looking for that first boundary, but it does not have enough Sunoco. Long run for White. The ball rocketed back in. That'll be 2 for Graham, and he'll retain strike against Krishnamurthy. I don't know if you can call it nice footwork when it really was mostly his upper body leaning way back to create the space to open up that shot. Another cut. This one will not be wide of Theron. He dives to keep it on the infield, but they will take a single. Graham starting to feel a little bit of willow on leather right now. This Sanjay Krishnamurthy's third over of work. Theron's also bowled 3. They've got 2 left of Nawaz, Angelo, and Rizwan at this point. For the final 7 overs of this match, another dot ball here for Sanjay. That's worked to square leg, and that'll be the final delivery of the over. 2 for 12 so far through 3 for Sanjay Krishnamurthy. Once upon a time, a attendee of Anil Kumble's Spin Stars school, and a spin star so far today for the East Bay Blazers. 13 overs gone, 63 for 5.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
The leg spinner, CP Rizwan, stays on from the homestead end for his third over. He's bowled 3 in each of his matches so far as a Blazer. Slogged by Ravi Singh to mid-on. That'll be a single to start. Silicon Valley just looking for a bit of strike rotation, try and get things moving, try and keep the bowler from bowling a consistent line and length over and over and over again. Although for Rizwan, that may not really be a concern. He has quite a bit of variation in flight and in line. Trying to open up a possibility for a mistake or 2 that can be golfed. There's a big looping one, but the length turns out to be absolutely perfect. There are a lot of balls that come out of CP Rizwan's hand that, at least as he's releasing them, you're thinking full toss, goodbye. And then they happen to land at just the right length. That's a flat one on the legs of Gary Graham. Hoik toward mid-wicket. Ravi Singh with the strike rate just a hair under 50. Gary Graham just a little over it. Flat and short and slapped to extra cover. Strikers will be happy to see more deliveries like that from the East Bay attack. Graham drills that one straight onto the roof of the schoolhouse. My goodness gracious, Gary Graham. Let's get a look at that. That an authentic half volley. And Ravichandra Barapagowda is about ready to head onto the field with a variety of balls to choose from to replace the one that was just dispatched onto the roof, but they do manage to fetch it. It seems like East Bay, for the time being, content to continue to use that one. When we were here last year, David White put 3 or 4 balls onto the top of that roof. Bit of an inspection here from Shailendra Raj to make sure that that is still worthy of continued use. Going to consult with Sundaram Subramanian, and we'll let you know here other games going on today. New Jersey Stallions and Philadelphians just starting over at Mercer Park. For the Stallions, they can clinch a playoff berth officially with a win and tie up the division race. Philadelphia, meanwhile, can claim the division race for themselves with a victory and ensure that they would be headed to Texas. Titans-Eagles getting started in about 10 minutes. Michigan Cricket Stars and Chicago Kingsmen at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. The first of the Central Division games to get going in what is also a busy, frenetic playoff race. Short one, worked to the opposite field here by Gary Graham. Another lean back, open the face, and hit it that way. The big six off the bat of Gary Graham against CP Rizwan. Third over, a bit more expensive. It goes for 10. Silicon Valley, 73 for 5.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need one hand on the roof, one hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
First double-digit over since the third for the Silicon Valley Strikers as they picked up 10 off CP Rizwan. In addition, that was the first boundary, that 6 hit by Gary Graham, dating all the way back to the 4 hit right before Shahan Jayasuriya was dismissed in the 5th over. So a lengthy spell here without a ball reaching the boundary rope. Finally broken. Graham looking for more. Storches that one across the surface. David White, well positioned, and it'll just be a single on the first delivery from Angie Pereira. Told you the East Bay skipper was on a nice run of form. The 3 for 13 and 3 for 18 last weekend. Yet to strike so far, but just 8 runs off his first 13 balls delivered. That one just wide of the hand of the man at mid-on. Single for Ravi Singh just past Aditya Ganesh. That one is scorched again by Gary Graham. Looks like the grass will hold it up. 3 singles to start here against Pereira. A stretch of 55 balls separating the 4 hit by Jayasuriya in the 5th over and that Gary Graham 6. They're going to need a bit more of that in the late going. That one pounded straight into the turf. Baltimore chop. And a single here for Ravi Singh. Managed to keep the carousel turning. Graham hoping he can lean on one here from Pereira. That one a little short. Graham hits that one to mid-wicket, but it will be just another single. So far, the Strikers continuing to pick out the fielders. And for all the hard contact, a dot or a single here, and Pereira will feel pretty good about this over. That one smacked into the ground, and the under edge, lucky for Ravi Singh, does not find its way to the stumps, just to the gloves of Sadiq Ganesh on a hop. 5 from it. Solid over from Pereira. Just 4 runs and over in his 3 so far. 78 for the loss of 5 as we hit the death overs. A look here at what has been a busy day for the East Bay bowlers. Sanjay Krishnamurthy striking early with the LBW on Pranay Suri. Just after a 6, Rusty Theron claiming Lahiru Milanta caught behind, and just after that aforementioned 4 from Jayasurya, a nice running grab by Nawaz Khan, who moments later blew up Rahul Jariwala's stumps for wicket number 4. Fifth one came by virtue of some fantastic fielding there from Hari Krishnan Nair in the deep. Came racing in, and as Silicon Valley looked to take a second on the first ball of the 7th over, put that one into Angie Pereira's hands, and nice work as well by Pereira to collect and spike it into the stumps. Gary Graham against Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and Sanjay has missed the line again, and that one's headed toward the trees. I apologize for the Sanjay misses the line again. It was Rizwan at that end beforehand that was victimized by Gary Graham, as we do have a change of bowling, and for that matter, a change of ends for Sanjay. But the result is all the same. Gary Graham doesn't want to see another 55-ball gap between boundaries. He knows his team needs to deal in them for the remaining 29 deliveries if they're going to put up a decent total. Graham up to 26. That is now his high score on the season, topping the 18 not out off 18 that he posted against Golden State back in that insane finish up in Davis. Wide delivery here from Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who understandably trying to keep the ball a bit away from Gary Graham's arc. Drifts a bit too far away. Ganesh trying to stump Graham off the wide delivery. That is legal if it turns out. That one on the ground to Nawaz Khan at long off for a single, and he fumbles the pickup, and Graham will retake the strike and pick up another run on the misfield. For East Bay, easy when you've not taken a wicket for a while. Start seeing your concentration drift just a little bit. Last wicket was that run out back on the first ball of the 7th over. Graham and Singh have batted together now for 9 overs and a ball. Not really a change of field, but a change of personnel as Pereira goes out to long off and Nawaz Khan into the circle. Graham trying to guide that one backwards of point. Long run for Nair, but he will chase it down. Another pair of runs for Gary Graham. Huddy Nair so far already with a big wicket off of some of his fielding out there at the long boundary. Graham so far with 10 runs himself off the over, plus the one wide from Krishnamurthy. Leans back and puts that one to the offside as well. This time it will be a single, and Ravi Singh will face the last ball or two of this over against Sanjay. The partnership now up to 50 runs. These two began batting together at 36 for 5, so 54 added between the two of them. Graham, the lion's share now as he's gotten his strike rate up over 100 with a couple of big hits. Singh hasn't scored quickly, but he has been very effective here at soaking up some of that pressure without losing a 6th wicket. Colin Archibald waits behind, but this is more the kind of time you'd like to see a Graham and Archibald partnership if it does develop. Graham doesn't get all of that one, but it is a long run for Khan. He'll pick that up inside the circle. And that'll be another single to end the over. Big over for Gary Graham, and Sanjay finishes his spell at 2 for 26. 12 off of his first 3 overs, gives up 14 on that one, and Silicon Valley find themselves at 92 for 5 with 4 overs left to build. compliments, as always, to our Crick Live crew, that is KRIC Live. Got Casper, Rafa, and Eric operating the cameras. Vishal Tiku, as always, at the controls. And I think I forgot to introduce myself at the start of all this, but if you've been tuning into any Bay Area games, you probably know me by now. Joe Hickey today, back on the comms after you were in the able hands of Suhas Vedam for yesterday's big match between East Bay and Golden State. You'll be with Suhas as well on Monday in a match that Silicon Valley's batters, Ravi Singh and Gary Graham, are in the midst of trying to make matter. As a reminder, the stakes here as Nawaz Khan gets ready to bowl his first over from the Homestead Drive end. East Bay with a win cinches up the division. Silicon Valley would definitely be number 2. Full toss on the first delivery. Gary Graham ready for it and puts that one into the construction containers behind square leg. That's the area where you got to be worried about your car with Gary Graham up. My goodness. Not to mention a couple of the trucks parked on Homestead right around the intersection with Viader. That was absolutely hammered. The only question at the moment is whether that is also going to be a no ball, and it indeed is. A beamer out of the hands of Nawaz Khan. And so after the big hit, and they're going to need a new ball, Ravashankar Barapa Gowda, nope, never mind, it has been located. This time around, Ravi got about a third of the way to the pitch from the boundary rope with his selection of new white spheres. Sundaram Subramanian, quick inspection of the one that was just dispatched into the parking lot. And they'll look to re-bowl this one. Free hit, and that is going to be worked to the man at long off. Vikash Mohan up with it, but they're looking for the quick 2, and they will take it. Good running between the wickets for Singh and Graham. Gary will retain strike. I assume they will eventually fix the issue on the board here as the 100 is shown up right now, but it came up on the 6 no ball from Gary Graham. Actual score at the moment should read 107 for 5. Better length, but that one is headed towards us. Might stay in the air though. Angie Panetta will squeeze just a few steps in from the boundary. And that's the end of Gary Graham. A big knock though, a 40 off the 32 he faced, and that is going to eventually be updated to 46. Might have thought he had his first 50 of the season as that one left the bat, but just a bit too much air under it. A bit toe-ended, and Pereira able to claim it. With Gary Graham departing, we'll remind you again, 107 for 6. We expect that score to be updated after they pick up the Gary Graham 6 from earlier. And it is now time for Colin Archibald to come out. And we'll stay right here, tell you a little bit about the man coming in to the crease, the 26-year-old from Nevis, who was a Morrisville Raptor last season. A 146 strike rate on the year and a 24 average in his 9 innings, but that strike rate climbed all the way up to 186 at the death. His heroics late in innings combined with some decent bowling as well got him a West Indies A call-up last season. So far this year for Silicon Valley, just 2 innings, 18 not out off 21 against Golden State when he partnered with Gary Graham for 39 off 34 to win that match. Had a couple of big hits off Sadaf Hussain, but no similar lefty pacers to try to target here. As we told you at the beginning of the match, LaRue and Paradkar out of the East Bay setup for today. Nawaz Khan and Rusty Theron, a pair of righties, in their place. stays down after the bounce. Apparently dealing with the helmet here. I don't know if they're planning to bowl more spin later, but it will be escorted, or maybe more accurately, baton relayed out of play. Don't want to risk those that potential for penalty runs here, so that's taken out of play. Dot ball on the first from Nawaz. After the wicket was taken, this one worked through a gap on the offside. Could be two, will be two. Tadic a little slow getting that ball back in, and Archibald at the wicketkeeper's end briefly considered trying to scamper back for a third. That one on the ground, again looking for the quick single. And the overthrow, briefly thought about trying to take another, but they'll head back. One ball left in the over. Silicon Valley managed to eclipse the 100 mark, now looking to build their way towards something like the 130, 140 that we saw yesterday for East Bay Blazers, give them something to bowl at. There's never any doubt here with Silicon Valley. You know they've got the horses coming in with ball in hand. Be looking at Saurabh Netravalkar, Colin Archibald, Dev Thadani on the pace side. Srini Raghavan and Pranay Suri have been so good with the spin. Might see some Umang Parikh in his first appearance of the season. That one tapped just past the non-striker by Ravi Singh. And it'll be a single to finish. Ravinder Pal Singh will have the strike when we come back for over number 18. But through 17, Silicon Valley on the board, 105 for 6. We're going to find out what happened about that 6 in the break.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Rusty Theron will pick up and bowl his final over. He's back where he bowled his 2 from the power play at the schoolhouse end. We now have confirmation here, even though it was not showing up at the bottom of the graphic correctly. I think I misremembered how many runs Silicon Valley had in the first place. And so the number is right, 105 for 6 here with just 17 balls left. Pickup shot from Ravinder Pal Singh. That one headed to mid-wicket, but it is going to hang up. Be claimed. 2 runs there. Throw slightly closer to the stumps might have had Colin Archibald in danger at the non-striker's end. Always entertained when Silicon Valley's involved at that term, non-striker's end. I almost want to say bowler's end because, well, every end is a striker's end. Strikers everywhere. Theron a little bit on the short side, and that is guided through a gap with precision behind point. And that'll be a 4. Beautifully worked by Ravinder Pal Singh, who has provided the anchor role to allow Gary Graham to express himself. Now with Colin Archibald in, looking to get his eye in. Ravi starting to feel the impetus. That is Ravinder Pal Singh's first boundary of today's innings. That one worked in on the pads. The brief, although quite furtive appeal, goes wanting. Does look like that may have gotten Ravi Singh on the shoe as he is walking that off at the moment. I imagine that's got to feel something like fouling a ball off your foot. Not pleasant. Currently crouched off to the side and trying to see if he can continue to walk. Nasty delivery from Theron. May well have been played onto his foot by the bat. But no signal given for a leg by, so must have gotten some wood on it. Colin Archibald, 3 so far off 3. Puts that one in the air and could have been a chance, but will be put down at long on. Coming back for a pair here. Colin Archibald now 5 off 4. And that was a bona fide chance. Bit of a long run out there for, I believe, the skipper, Angie Pereira. Could not hold on. Silicon Valley have begun to push the run rate forward with a few big overs, a 10, a 14, and a 13 off of Rizwan, Krishnamurthy, and Nawaz, respectively. 9 so far off Theron with 1 ball left. Big rip from Archibald, but he does not make contact, so 9 it will stay. Rusty with the big wicket of Lahiro Milanta early, 29 runs off of his spell. 2 overs left. Silicon Valley 114 for 6. Nawaz Khan continues from the Homestead Road end of this Santa Clara Cricket Club ground. East Bay looking to rein in what has been a Silicon Valley advance. Early part of the innings decisively belonged to the East Bay Blazers bowling attack. 4 wickets taken inside the power play and 1 on the first delivery after it, coming by virtue of a run out. But then a lengthy partnership between Ravinder Pal Singh and Gary Graham started on the 2nd ball of the 7th. Graham dismissed on the 2nd ball of the 17th. It is now Ravinder Pal Singh facing the first of the 19th. That one on the ground to square leg. Few big overs recently here into double figures against Rizwan Krishnamurthy and Nawaz Khan, and nearly into double figures against Rusty Theron. I've got strikers in a bit better of a situation right now. The phases of the game here, those middle overs defined by a 65-run partnership in 62 balls between Ravinder Pal Singh and Gary Graham. It's now Archibald on strike, 5 off 5 for him so far. That one's in the air, but looks like it will loop over the short man and wide of the deep one. Pair of runs for Archibald there, who continues to revel in that role of finisher here for Silicon Valley. As we mentioned, he's the last recognized batter in this lineup. Saurabh Netravalkar hasn't been too shabby with the stick so far this season. He would probably be the next man in. Dev Thadani and Umang Parikh, the only other 2 left for Pranay Suri's men. That one is fired straight back through the hands of Nawaz Khan, but Sanjay Krishnamurthy Good quick footwork and a direct hit that is going to carry him away and nearly permits the scoring of a second run. Direct hit well too late to run out Archibald at the bowler's end. For all the pyrotechnics, both audio and the explosion of that hit off the bat of Colin Archibald, and of course the dazzling lights of the Zing Bales. For all of that, just a single. Big hoik by Ravinder Pal Singh, but he will not make contact with that delivery from Nawaz. 2 left in the over. Silicon Valley just 2 runs shy of that run-a-ball mark for the innings as a whole. Certainly looked unlikely to reach that point at the halfway point when they were 47 for the loss of 5 and trying to rebuild from that early carnage. Tapped into a gap behind point. Wide of third man, Rusty Theron on the chase. That'll be a pair for Ravi Singh. That does put Silicon Valley at 120 for 6. 1 ball left in the over. Here comes the last for Nawaz Khan. Knocks over Ravinder Pal Singh. And it's 3 for 24, going at a run-a-ball and taking 3 big wickets. Nawaz Khan take a bow. He claims the wickets of Shahan Jayasurya, Rahul Jariwala, and the stalwart Ravinder Pal Singh. Gone for 29 off 44, and this one, again, the Yorker. This time between off and middle stump. Can't do it much better than that. If you place it right, it doesn't need to be all that hard. So at 120 for 7, we'll take the break. 1 over left. Saurabh Netravalkar on his way in to bat for the Strikers. The skipper, Angelo Pereira, will bowl his final over and the final over of this first innings. From the schoolhouse end, Colin Archibald on strike. Saurabh Netravalkar waits at the other end. First delivery from Archibald in the air. Could be a chance. Backpedaling and unable to collect it is Hari Krishnan Nair, and that has carried over the rope for a 6. A big over here, and Silicon Valley could set a target very similar to what East Bay scored yesterday. And that would certainly put some potential doubt in the minds of the men in yellow. Stepping forward, this one in the air, and it's going to eat up the fielder at long on. Sanjay Krishnamurthy caught in 2 minds about whether to come for that and try to dismiss Archibald, and whether to play back and look for the hop. And after conceding just 12 runs off of his first 3 overs, 10 off the first 2 deliveries against Angie Pereira here. Tough hop on that. We talk about how a good length delivery is what baseball players would call an in-between hop. There is very much what baseball players would call an in-between hop. Very tough to read for Krishnamurthy there. Archibald sprays that one wide of Rusty Theron. They'll look to take 2 and keep him on strike. Looks like they will. The ball rolling into Pereira. Too late for taking the wicket of Netravalkar. 12 so far, the score up to 132 for 7. Archibald going at 2 runs per ball right now. Steps forward right over the head of Pereira. It's a foot race with Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and he will not be able to beat it to the boundary. Another 4 for Archibald. Colin came into the day with 3 4s and 2 6s on the season. He's got 2 and 1 just inside this over. 2 more deliveries. Much better line and length from Pereira that time. They'll look to take 2 again. The throw is down to the wicketkeeper's end. Stumps removed, and the finger up from Sundaram Subramanian. So a single and the wicket of Colin Archibald. And it's going to be either Umang Parikh or Dev Tadani in at 10 to face the final ball from Angelo Pereira. Excellent play there. Sanjay Krishnamurthy looking for redemption, and he fires that into his fellow young player, Saideep Ganesh. Good collect. Takes the bails. And that is all for Archibald at 137 for 8. So 1 ball left. It will be Umang Parikh on 2023 debut to face it. And for Parikh, in 5 matches, this is actually going to be the first ball he has ever faced in minor league cricket. So a chance to have a silly high strike rate and a big an infinite average. Let's see what he does. That one screws off the edge of the bat, but will head to the man at long off, trying for another pair of runs, and putting in the dive is Umang Parikh back at the wicket-keeper's end. And so 2 there. As we said, the average infinite, the strike rate now 200. Looks just as good as Colin Archibald. And a nice first delivery faced here in MILC. And that's going to end this over here and this innings with Silicon Valley at exactly the runs that East yesterday. 139 for the loss of 8 once the scoreboard is able to catch up after those 3 runs were added for the loss of Archibald's wicket. We'll take a look at the card here, and as we told you, it was ugly early on. Lahira Milantha with the 12, which we've said has been a bit of a bellwether for the team to this point. But that's all he managed before going out caught behind. Pranay Suri dismissed earlier by Krishnamurthy LBW. Shahan Jayasuriya got a start and then hold out to Nawaz Khan. Rahul Jariwala knocked over moments later by Nawaz Khan, and then the run out of Srini Raghavan. But that was when Silicon Valley got their feet under them. Ravinder Pal Singh and Gary Graham, the big partnership for 65 runs. And then a nice late flash there from Colin Archibald to push this total and this target up to 140. A look at the bowling card as well here for East Bay Blazers. And a little expensive. Harikrishnan Nair only had the 1 over back in the power play. Everybody else keeping it under 8. Angelo Pereira traveled a bit in that final over as Archibald looked for the big finish. Rusty Theron 1 for 29. Your stars, though, Nawaz Khan 3 wickets, including 1 on his last delivery for 24 runs. Sanjay Krishnamurthy 2 for 26. Like Pereira, traveled a little bit in his final over of work as well after going at 2 for 12 in his first 3. We're going to take a look at our first innings highlights, and boy, were there a lot of highlights early for the East Bay Blazers. Sanjay Krishnamurthy getting the new ball and claiming Pranay Suri leg before wicket in the first over. Harikrishnan there, we mentioned, would travel a little bit as this one was worked for the first boundary of the day by Shahan Jayasuriya. Shahan would step forward again after a dot ball in between and hit another 4 almost to the exact same spot. At that point, he looked to be in good shape. Rusty Theron victimized by an acrobatic 6 from Lahira Milantha. But that would be the first of 2 iterations of this. Boom, bye. Feathered edge into the gloves of Saideep Ganesh. And Rusty Theron had his first wicket. Lahira Milantha gone for just a dozen. When he gets to that point, 4-0, this team, but we'll see how things turn out here. He only just got to the 12 mark. A boundary there early for Rahul Jariwala, but he would not stick around for very long. Bowled clean by Nawaz Khan in the first delivery. Khan with the bookend wickets. And then after the power play, which scoring wasn't bad, but the 4 wickets were a problem, very first ball, they would look to take 2. And a great throw from the deep from Hari Krishnan Nair to dismiss him, Angelo Pereira, with the collect and the removal of the stumps. For a long time in the middle, it would be just a lot of noodling. We have just jumped forward to the 17th over here as Gary Graham launches a couple of sixes. First one off of CP Rizwan, the leg spinner. Here, one off Sanjay Krishnamurthy. Graham went for 40 off his 32. But it would be Nawaz Khan that would eventually get him. First, though, out the 6 off the no ball. But then the last laugh had by Nawaz Khan. This one into the deep, looked good off the bat, but Angie Pereira camped out just in front of our commentary position to end that 65-run partnership between Ravi Singh and Gary Graham. Singh would finally get his first boundary here after playing that anchor role. 29 off 44 for him. He would fall here on the final delivery of Nawaz Khan's spell, blowing up middle stump. And then Angie Pereira would take the ball for the final over. Colin Archibald first with a 6, then with this 4 that took a funky hop in front of Sanjay Krishnamurthy. This one in the air as well. Krishnamurthy not able to beat that one to the rope. But he would pick out Sanjay one more time, and this time he would pay for it. Long throw from long on. And the bails whipped off the end of the day for Archibald, who contributed 25 off 12, among Parikh with 2 off the final delivery. And that sets us where we stand right now. 140 will be the target for East Bay Blazers to claim their first ever division crown and book their tickets for Dallas, Texas, the final week of September. We'll be back with that in about 15 minutes here on the MLC Network. The target set by Silicon Valley Strikers is 140. If East Bay Blazers, who will get their start with David White and Saideep Ganesh, can get there, they claim their first ever division title and a trip to Texas for the Super 8s in this year's minor league cricket playoffs. If they fail to do so, well, that decision, whether East Bay or Silicon Valley go, is going to be held off until Monday when these two teams meet in Morgan Hill. Joe Hickey with you here from Santa Clara, California, for the first of 3 games this weekend here, or excuse me, rather, the second of 4 games, I meant to say. First one I've been at. But second of 4 games here in Santa Clara, a place where both of these teams are presently undefeated. Silicon Valley faced off with San Diego here in 2021 and Hollywood last year. East Bay did the same. Both teams 2-0. Somebody's going to take their first dent on this ground. Actually, I should say East Bay is now 3-0, having knocked off Golden State Grizzlies here yesterday, but still the case. First ball, though, a bit of a surprise. We thought when Netravalkar, or that if Netravalkar had come out there, or that when Netravalkar came out to pair with Colin Archibald, that we were getting a preview of the opening bowling partnership. But it's actually going to be Srinivas Raghavan to get things started with some left-arm spin against Saideep Ganesh. And the first ball from Raghavan is right at the fielder in the circle, Umang Parikh. Raghavan on the season, 14 wickets at 12.6 per. That is lifted, and that is going to easily clear Shehan Jayasuriya at mid-on. And following that, the boundary rope. Early signal of intent from Saideep Ganesh. Generally speaking, he is the aggressor of these two inside the power play. Raghavan drifting a little bit on the leg side and a little short on the length. Ganesh able to pick that one up and deposit it for 6 big early runs. Gives himself a little bit of room and taps that to the offside for a dot ball. Raghavan started the day tied with Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and for that matter, his teammate Saurabh Netravalkar for 7th place in the wicket-taking table. That one worked off the pads by Ganesh. Again in the direction of Jayasuriya, he'll get off strike after that early 6, and David White will face his first delivery. White, the 32-year-old from Durban, South Africa. One of several East Bay Blazers players that is now that has been a San Francisco unicorn in Major League Cricket. Saw just a moment ago there Shehan Jayasuriya, who represented the Seattle Orcas in that tournament. This one is again worked to Jayasuriya, and David White is off the mark with a run off the first ball he faces. Saideep back into this side last weekend after suffering an injury in USA training camp pre the Cricket World Cup qualifiers. Missed MLC and the first 5 matches of this year, but he has been very good since coming back, and that is another boundary stroke straight back over the bowler's head. And Srini Raghavan has traveled just a little bit here in this first over against the East Bay Blazers as we take one more look at this. Skipping forward, hold the pose. Saideep Ganesh, stand and deliver. 10, make it 11 for him in the over, plus the single from David White makes it 12 for no loss after 1. scorekeepers have caught up with us here to the present moment. 12 for no loss through the first over. A pair of boundary strokes from Saideep Ganesh. It'll be David White to face off with Saurabh Netravalkar coming from the schoolhouse end. A big cut that does not find the leather. Netravalkar, as we mentioned, also in that tie coming into the day for 7th place in minor league cricket in wickets at 14. I say coming into the day with that because we already know Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who was part of that tie, picked up 2. White opens the face of the bat, but Umang ready to grab it. Netravalkar, easy to take for granted. So consistently fantastic. Great spell with the Washington Freedom in Major League Cricket. 11 wickets taken in that tournament, 6 of them coming against David White's San Francisco Unicorns for just 9 runs. Headed to the Gulf Giants in the ILT 20 later on. Another one tapped into the ground, and another dot for Saurabh Netravalkar for the briefest of moments. Dev Thadani thinking about wheeling and throwing for the stumps, with Ganesh dancing down the track. This year with his best ever figures in minor league cricket, 5.17 the economy, 13.4 the strike rate, 11.6 the average. That is a spectacular catch at slip. Lahiru Milantha lays out to his right and takes the edge of David White. An early potential turn in the tail. And here at our commentary position, we had the best view in the house. Netravalkar last week, not his best week. Went in a run of ball and took just 1 wicket in 2 matches. Starts this outing, though, with 4 dots, and then this outstanding edge picked up and claimed by Lahiru Milantha. We mentioned before, Jadiwala and Milantha have gone back and forth with who's wearing the gloves over the course of this season. Milantha also a fantastic fielder without the gloves, and you got a taste of it right there. One more look at this. The outer edge claimed as Saurabh Netravalkar, just an absolute master of creating that angle, bowling as wide as you can from over the wicket. White looking back as if to say, please get past his fingertips and find your way to the boundary. The man from Kalutara having absolutely none of it. Slip remains in place as Sanjay Krishnamurthy will face off with Netravalkar. Little bit of shape in, nearly targeting the top of off stump. We mentioned that Sanjay, in the first innings, picked up a pair of wickets. That detaching him from the tie that he was in with, among others, Netravalkar and Srinivas Raghavan. Netravalkar now with a chance, 1 more ball left in this over, to see if he can tie up Sanjay again atop the wicket takers leaderboard at Sanjay's expense. Final ball of the second. 4th stump line. Krishnamurthy makes contact with it, but just pushes that to the offside. And that is going to be a wicket maiden for Saurabh Netravalkar here in the second over. What a comeback from taking a little tap there in the first. East Bay 12 for the loss of 1 through 2.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Lots of playoff implications here as East Bay Blazers have set off in search of 140 runs to book their ticket to Dallas for the Super 8s as Western Division champions. Silicon Valley want to push this to Monday to make up their mind. Whatever comes to pass, if it is a final game decider like that, I'll be excited for you neutrals. I'm going to be a little bit bummed out for myself if that happens, because I'm going to be in class teaching instead of watching or calling that game. But Suhas Vedam will take you through it if that's what it comes down to. Early days in this chase as Saideep Ganesh starts on strike to begin this over against Colin Archibald and works a single off the first ball. Ganesh with 11 runs, courtesy of a single, a 4, and a 6. In that first over off of Srinivas Raghavan. Krishnamurthy, a pair of dots absorbed at the end of Netravalkar's wicket maiden to start his spell. Archibald so far on this season, 2 wickets for 132 runs over 15 overs, an economy just a little under 9. Little bit of pace off on that, and the ball stayed down. Swing and a miss. Sanjay not in trouble because it was not directed at the stumps. But all the same, a reminder of what Archibald can do. And not that East Bay have a ton of lefties in their lineup, but Archibald's presence makes you very much want to stay right-hand heavy throughout the power play. Nothing there in terms of a run. Parikh got a hand to it. Gary Graham able to collect. On the season, though, Archibald on 28 balls bowled against lefties, 29 for 2. Gives you a sense then against righties that economy creeps up even further than the 8.80 that it is overall. That one definitely got pad, but at least from our angle appears to be going well down leg and possibly also high. Bit of an unusual scenario today for both of these teams. For Silicon Valley, this is the just the second time rather all season that they've batted first. They did win that game though against San Diego. Also 3-1 last year when batting first. Gary Graham again attentive in the circle, and another dot. East Bay, meanwhile, have chased in 3 of their last 5 matches, 2-1 as the chasing team. Did fall 10 runs short in Seattle for that one loss. They also just barely got over the line in the second game in Seattle, that coming courtesy of a Hamza Tariq walk-off 6 with 5 needed off the final delivery. Archibald pretty tidy here in his first over of work. Krishnamurthy wants to muss that up a little bit, though. After 6 dot balls, he's worked himself a 4. Lovely off drive there from Sanjay Krishnamurthy. A little microcosm of his match on Sunday back in Morgan Hill when he soaked up 11 dots before finally breaking loose, ending up with a run-a-ball 27. That shot, smooth as you like. Ball quickly to the boundary, and it looks like on top of the 4, we've got a no ball. And so the over is not complete. Archibald is going to have to re-bowl that one. Free hit. Swing and a miss. but a wide. And so we'll have to bowl that one again. This, not exactly uncommon for Colin Archibald, came into the weekend with 12 wides and no balls against just 90 legal deliveries. 10 of the 72 runs he's conceded in the power play have come by virtue of freebies. 2 of them back-to-back here as he looks to finish off this over. And another wide. That one came out very wrong as he tried to create an angle across Krishnamurthy. Generally a great deal more accurate in the death overs. In 6 death overs, just 2 wides and no balls. But again, 10 in 9 and 3 on the trot right here. A hat trick of free runs. That one is hammered by Sanjay Krishnamurthy. A 1-hop 4. Just wide of directly over Colin Archibald's head. Provide too many opportunities at a freebie, and eventually Sanjay's going to take advantage. Like we said, there it is in microcosm. 6 dots. Now he's at 8 for 8. And again, the off drive. Just gorgeous, that shot from Krishnamurthy. Bit of a mistake in length after several mistakes in line. Archibald goes for 12. East Bay double their score, 24 for the loss of 1.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
So far, East Bay with a pair of 12-run overs on either side of Saurabh Netravalkar's wicket maiden. Yet to figure out their bowling from the Homestead Road end. From the schoolhouse, their old professor is going to try to keep it going. And that one is guided wide of Shahan Jayasuriya at mid-off. He will collect. They're going to look to come back for 2. Play was on down at Rahul Jariwala's end, but Ganesh gets home in time. The ball not on target. Other matches in progress right now. We told you before about the Manhattan Yorkers falling to defeat earlier and likely having their playoff hopes ended. New England Eagles, courtesy of a forfeit by the Empire State Titans, have moved into a tie with New Jersey Somerset Cavaliers, who won that Manhattan game in 3rd place. That one just over a jumping Dev Thadani. That is the risk inherent in the approach often taken by Saideep Ganesh, but he'll take another 2. That was not far away from being a second stellar catch by a Silicon Valley striker. Get another look here. A little bit full on that one from Netravalkar, and it does get a lot of force on it, but just outside the reach of a leaping Dev Thadani. Spectacular catches. Wouldn't be a new thing coming from the man wearing number 4. That one scorched on the ground, and ball following Dev right now. Takes a funky hop off the practice pitch. And that'll be a single. Sanjay Krishnamurthy now on strike after a couple of big boundary strokes against Colin Archibald. So that's 2 games in the Eastern Division in the books right now. The other one will be New Jersey Stallions and the Philadelphians. So far about 14 overs in. New Jersey at 79 for 5. That's already eclipsed what both Manhattan and New Jersey Somerset managed to do with 20 and 16 overs respectively. That one straight back. Netravalkar got a hand to it, and that is all for Saideep Ganesh. Absolutely horrific luck for the remaining East Bay opener, but that ball hits the hand of Saurabh Netravalkar and caroms onto the stumps. And for the uninitiated, that counts just as well as if he'd picked it up and guided it with pinpoint precision with a throw. It's still a run out, and it's still the end for Saideep. Run out at the non-striker's end. Let's get a look at this. Well connected by Sanjay, but there's the fingertip, bang, and Saideep not able to get back into his own crease quite in time. The finger up there, Ganesh not happy about it. Maybe thought he did make his ground. Unfortunately, we don't have the side-on angle this time around. Had Netravalkar not gotten anything on that and it had hit the stumps, that wouldn't have been anything. It just would have been bad luck for Sanjay, who would have been deprived of what was probably going to be a 2 or a 4. But it'll be a Ganesh for Ganesh swap here for the East Bay Blazers as Saideep leaves Aditya, who wore the gloves in Saideep's absence for the first 4 games of this season, will come on and produce a righty-lefty combination. And as a commentator, you try not to play favorites or anything, but Aditya Ganesh might be the most fun batter I've gotten to watch this season. Recently of the Dindigul Dragons in the Tamil Nadu Premier League. He's actually one of 2 guys that'll come out wearing a Super Kings lid. In his case, because he's a 31-year-old with Chennai as his hometown. We'll see Rusty Theron later, who played for the Texas Super Kings in MLC. Sanjay Krishnamurthy picking up right where he left off with a pickup shot. That one to cow corner. And it's another 4 for Sanjay, who is well and truly operating. First he targeted Archibald. This time around, a little drift on the line from Saurabh Netravalkar. And a bit on the short side, and Sanjay knows what to do with that. Got a little of that Otani sound coming off of Sanjay's bat right now. Final ball of the over. Netravalkar's gone for 9, but he has gotten a wicket. That one again, a pickup shot, this time to the offside, and watch it fly away for 6. Sanjay dealing in boundaries. He's got 18 runs, all of them courtesy of 3 4s and a 6. This time a bit wide, not a lot of swing for Netravalkar here as it's warmed up a bit in Santa Clara from the early morning swing-conducive conditions. Krishnamurthy beautifully going through the line of that ball and depositing it over the rope. 39 for 2. East Bay 100 away from Silicon Valley's total in the first innings. With the lefty in, shrewd move here for Silicon Valley strikers. They're going to go to the off-spinner Shehan Jayasuriya. And Shehan with just utterly silly numbers against left-handed batters this season. He did give up a few runs to Reuben Clinton during the match with SoCal, but his economy against lefties, 1.66. Just 8 runs conceded in 29 deliveries, and a chance at a run out there goes wanting as Krishnamurthy and Ganesh scamper a single and get Aditya out of Shahan's firing line. Economy 1.66, average of 2. 8 runs, 4 wickets taken against left-handers. 7.3 the strike rate, that's 4 wickets in 29 balls. Goofy numbers, a far more pedestrian 5.28 economy, an average of 11 against righties. But in limited action, just 9 overs bowled on the season, Shahan Jayasuriya, rocking the Ken Griffey backwards cap, has been outstanding. Krishnamurthy taps that one to a vacant area on the offside. Pranay Suri not able to make the clean pickup. They'll scamper another single, and Ganesh will head back on strike. Aditya Ganesh, 121 the strike rate, 24.5 the average. Taps the one back to Jayasuriya. Had a phenomenal weekend against Seattle a couple weekends back, 51 and 37. And of the 88 runs he scored, 57 of them were 1s and 2s. That one just over the top of Shahan Jayasuriya's head. That'll be a single. Ganesh, somebody who has one of the better strike rates on non-boundary balls that I've seen out of all the Western Division players, 94.2. So in other words, on shots where he's not getting it to the rope, he's still taking nearly a run a ball. Very busy. Targeting the feet of Krishnamurthy, he will fire that one to Colin Archibald at mid-off. Dot ball. That one's airborne. Sanjay knows where the fielders are in the deep, and there's not one back there. Backward square and another boundary for him. He had just gotten his first single, but now 24 of his 25 runs coming from boundary strokes, and that one is gorgeous. That'll be how this over comes to an end. Shahan Jayasuriya, nice and economical through 5, but Sanjay Krishnamurthy makes him pay for drifting a bit down leg on the final ball. East Bay 48 for the loss of 2.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save, because rewards come first.
Shay,
48 for 2 for East Bay. It's going to be Dev Thadani bowling the final over of the power play here with Aditya Ganesh starting out on strike. Continuing to take our look around minor league cricket here in the final weekend. Decision, well, not quite decision day just yet, but definitely getting there. Certainly decision weekend. Doesn't have the alliteration, though. New Jersey Stallions, 2 overs left to build up their total against the Philadelphians. It's 94 for 7 at Mercer Park. In that game, New Jersey could clinch a playoff berth. Philadelphia could clinch the division title, depending on who wins there. Ganesh runs that off the face, plays it so late. Archibald got just enough of a touch to it to slow it up for Suri to grab it before it gets to the boundary. That'll be a pair for Aditya Ganesh. That was one of the things that impressed me about him, watching him in Seattle. Just plays the ball so late, almost that sort of Kane Williamson kind of way of going about it. Lets it get under his eyes, ready to open the face of the bat, scoop it, push it, glance it, whatever needs doing. That one is going to find the gap between Archibald and Suri, and that's going to win the race to the boundary rope. 50 up on the prior ball, now make it 54 for East Bay, and they are at the moment in cruise control, going at 10 runs and over. And the remaining target to knock off now is less than a run a ball. That cut shot there, as he allowed it to get in on him a little late. 6 off the first 2 for Dev Tadani, who's been very good this season. We'll see what he's got here, the 20-year-old Irvington High graduate. That one stays down for him. Ganesh unable to make contact. Seven wickets this season at 25.6 per. An economy just a shade over 7. Been using him in a lot more high leverage situations. Last season, 80% of his overs were in the middle. This season, 24% in the power play, 36% at the death. Ganesh continuing to make his life miserable, though. Runs another good-looking ball down behind point. Another single here, and that'll bring Krishnamurthy on strike, who's going at one heck of a clip, 25 off 14. Central Division games, by the way, underway. Athletics and Hurricanes got going about 30 minutes ago. Houston going at 35 for no loss through 5 overs against Lone Star Athletics. Krishnamurthy putting this one towards square leg, long run. It will be chased down out there by Colin Archibald. They take 2, thinking about a third. Throw is down to Sanjay's end. Jadiwala puts it onto the stumps, and Sanjay is gone. Confusion between the wickets. Both men briefly thinking about trying to take a third run off that ball out at the long boundary. And a bit of acrobatics from Rahul Jadiwala. From what we've seen from him and Milantha in the slip, I think keep these two right where they are. Archibald, a good, confident throw in. Kept that near the stumps. There's the bit of confusion. Ganesh, out of the screen there, had gone quite a ways down. Sanjay thought about following suit, now turns tail, and look at that play by Rahul Jadiwala. One-handed grab with the right hand, and then directs it onto the stumps. You talk about bare hand pickups for a shortstop in baseball, which is what Rahul actually also is. That was something else, to snag a throw from the deep with one hand and chuck it onto the stumps. So 2 runs, but another wicket down here, and don't look now, East Bay have lost 3 inside the power play. And they've come in some surprising fashions, a pair of runouts. One of them not really the fault of Saideep Ganesh. Bit of bad luck on a ball that was scalded straight back at Saurabh Netravalkar. This one, though, all class from Rahul Jadiwala, and a pinpoint accurate throw from the boundary by Colin Archibald. So it'll be the skipper, Angelo Pereira, coming in to partner Aditya Ganesh. Initially, I would imagine Silicon Valley just happy to save the 2 runs from Archibald getting to that before it crossed the line. Then as a bonus, no more of Sanjay's boom boom. Krishnamurthy departs 27 off 15 deliveries. He had 27 as well in the match last weekend against SoCal Lashings. First delivery to the new man at the crease. Pereira fights that one off. We'll tell you a little more about Sanjay's recent history and about the new man when we come back. But the power play done and dusted. East Bay do lose the 3, but still going at a very good clip, 57 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Just 2 balls before the end of the power play, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, who was going at a rate of knots, 27 runs, most of that coming off of 5 boundary shots, 2 of the maximums. He heads back to the Left arm spin, not always a great option against Ganesh. 138 his strike rate on the season against that. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Shahan's a lefty batter, but he's not a lefty spinner. I got my head on backwards as he dots up Ganesh again. I just feel silly after that. Pereira gets me that way too every now and again. Right-handed batter, but a lefty spinner. Another dot ball as that's run down to Saurabh Netravalkar at third man. Yeah, Shahan and Angie Pereira, just a pair of Sri Lankan mirror images there, at least in that respect. The off spinner, he's an off spinner, puts one a little bit wide of off stump, worked to Pranay Suri at mid-on. That'll be a single here for Ganesh and get him off strike and out of the pressure. Angelo Pereira, 75 runs off 60 deliveries so far this season, a 125 strike rate. Missed the first 3 games of the year playing with the Colombo Strikers over in the Lanka Premier League. That one on the carpet. And to Colin Archibald out there on the offside. Single for Angelo Pereira, and he is now off the mark. Final delivery of the over, and Ganesh will run that one again down to Netravalkar. A very tidy over for Shahan Jayasuriya, and that's going to be the recipe here for Silicon Valley strikers. If you're going to manage to pull this one back, it's got to be some pressure from one end and wickets, whether they be through skill or through just being very opportunistic at the other. 7 overs gone, East Bay 59 for the loss of 3.
Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
Angelo Pereira on strike. As this next over is getting ready to get underway, we're going to see another off-spinner, Pranay Suri. Pereira with a 34 off 25 against SoCal Lashings back on Sunday. He was one of several East Bay Blazers that put up pretty decent, but not insanely great scores in yesterday's game. The Blazers had to stitch that one together without the usual superlatives they have. 6 different batters scored between 16 and 28 runs. David White, chief among them. As Suri bowls his first one at Angelo Pereira, that one's just outside of Pranay's reach. Captain picks up a run off the other captain. There were 4 partnerships of at least 23, but none over 32. Well, Niraj Gul had a pretty good outing against them, going 2 for 19. Vagela took 3 wickets, but went for 8 runs and over. They set that 140 target and then just knocked over the top of the Golden State lineup. And despite a 63-run partnership between Shiva Mishra and Zia Shahzad, when they broke that partnership, that was pretty much curtains. Golden State would lose 4 wickets for 12 runs on the next 14. And really only cleaned up net run rate with a few Niraj Gul boundaries off of Abhishek Paradkar. That net run rate could be important when Golden State takes on Seattle Thunderbolts in our second game today. Swing and a miss, according to Shailendra Raj. Had he gotten even a piece of it, could have been curtains for Ganesh. You can hear Suri's grunt from over here as he has a ball worked onto the onside. Just a single for Ganesh. And now big-time change in the field as the righty-lefty partnership is going to get the men in two-tone blue moving. Very flat delivery from Surrey that time, run down to third man, and Ganesh off like a shot from the non-striker's end. Netravalkar came up thinking about a throw, and Ganesh was already there. That's a bit of what I'm talking about. Maybe the busiest man between the stumps that I've seen in 2023 Sunoco minor league cricket. Another swing and a miss on a ball wide of the stumps from Pranay Surrey, so a tidy over nonetheless. Just 3 from it. Pressure building. East Bay 62 for 3.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Shehan Jayasuriya is going to stay on from the Homestead Drive end. Excuse me, Homestead Road end. It is Angelo Pereira on strike. Wide ball, but Pereira reaches out and pokes that back behind point. Long run for Archibald. Bare hand pickup and a throw down to Jadiwala's end. It's going to be 2. At least for a moment, that Archibald-Jadiwala connection looked like it might bear fruit again. That one slapped back up the middle. Pranay Surrey at long off. Of course, lots of deep protection now with the fielding restrictions lifted a couple of overs ago. Single for Pereira, that'll bring Ganesh back on strike. Another one worked in Pranay Surrey's direction. Over at long on. Ganesh and Pereira batting together, it's kind of interesting because it seems like the return of Angelo Pereira has resulted in Aditya Ganesh not batting nearly as much as we were accustomed to. That one's gotten the pad. Is it in line? Apparently not. Shehan Jayasuriya really whipped one in there on that delivery. Very flat, very hard, to the point that for a second I thought he was a medium pacer. Unfortunately, from our particular angle there, no ability to see where that ball impacted. Shehan round the wicket to the lefty Aditya Ganesh, looking for the quick single. That one's going to get away from Jadiwala, but not far away enough to do anything about it, especially with Pereira continuing his run a good 10 or 20 yards down the line. Ganesh, after that great weekend in Seattle, did not bat against the San Diego Surf Riders, was in at 4 and scored just 3 runs against SoCal, in at 6 and scored 16 yesterday against the Golden State Grizzlies. Today, back in at 4, where he's batted more often than anywhere else, 4 times this year. That one right back to Shehan Jayasuriya. And that'll be a dot to finish up. 6 from the over, one of them a leg by, doesn't count against Shehan. Just 16 so far from his 3, 68 for 3.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go Rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
East Bay Blazers off to a much quicker start than Silicon Valley strikers were. Although what you will notice as we come back to the main graphic is that even though the worm is so far above, the actual run rate versus run rate required is starting to get a bit closer. Pranay Suri is going to continue from the schoolhouse end. Ganesh puts that one in the air. Nobody in that zone for Silicon Valley. Archibald a long run. This time he'll hold it to just a single. Another fantastic running throw to Rahul Jadiwala. He really took it easy on the first one that he gunned in that actually got them the wicket, but he's had two other pinpoint running rifle shots. Single off the first, but you notice there 7.5 the runs scored so far, 6.55 the run rate required. Pereira will hit that one into the gap, and that is going to get over the rope on the fly. For Pereira, his first boundary shot. Everybody besides David White, who left for just a single run after that phenomenal Milantha catch, has hit at least one boundary. Hoiks this one from a wide line to cow corner. Suri looking for the comeback. That one tapped back, and good fielding off his own bowling as he lunges to the right. Pranay Suri took a catch off his own bowling as that one is guided just wide of the non-striker. Thinking about a second, Ganesh, aggressive, nearly a direct hit from Shahan Jayasuriya. Aditya would have been in real trouble if that had found timber. You underestimate Shahan Jayasuriya's arm, both its power and its accuracy, at your own risk. Tell Finn Allen, who was run out in slightly comical fashion in the matchup between the Seattle Orcas and the San Francisco Unicorns in MLC. That one guided to square leg. Plenty of room to run that single. I'm starting to mention, though, Pranay Suri had one of the plays of the week in MILC as he took a comebacker off the bat of Munal Patel that was absolutely scalded back at him. Probably saved the life of the umpire, who would have been hit squarely in the chest had he not reached out and snagged it. And he underplayed it to such an extent that I didn't realize it was a wicket for a solid 5 seconds. He's got a wicket there, though. Aditya Ganesh blown up. Suri has snuck it through the gate. And East Bay are 4 down here on the final delivery of this first half of the run chase. Ganesh will depart for 14. It was an exciting 14, but he was held in check a great deal more than we're accustomed to. And we see there, just throws the shot a little late, couldn't get to the pitch of it, through the gate, and boom. Loosening up the moorings of off stump. And that is all for Aditya Ganesh. So 78 runs so far through 10 overs. They've certainly done that part of the job, but they are beginning to edge their way towards the later part of their lineup. We'll take a look at what's left to potentially bat as Vikash Mohan, one of their closers, comes out. They do still have Hamza Tariq. They do still have CP Rizwan. They've got the boom boom of Nawaz Khan, and that is a definite adjustment there. Having Nawaz in the lineup in place of Abhishek Paradkar, Theron in place of LaRue, those are some certainly more proven here in MILC batters. So that does give you a slightly shorter tail. Really, the tail arguably would just be Rusty Theron and Hari Krishnan Nair. And of course, Rusty, we want to talk about him as being part of the tail. He's actually the minor league cricket leader in strike rate this season. Not as a bowler, as a batter. 15 off 5 for a strike rate of 300. So a decent bit left in the cupboard for East Bay, but maybe a little earlier than they would like to be counting up who's left. For now, we're a ways away from seeing Rusty Theron put on that Texas Super Kings lid. But Srini Raghavan back in, and he's going to look to hasten that process the best he can. First delivery hit right back to him, not fielded cleanly, but no run there. As the skipper Angelo Pereira is on strike after the change of overs. Vikash Mohan, the new man, at the non-striker's end. That is an under edge that could have gone anywhere. Pair of dots for Srini Raghavan. He'll be happy about that. Rough first over of work for him as he went for a 4, a 6, and 2 singles. Most of that damage courtesy of Saideep Ganesh, who unluckily was run out a couple overs later by Saurabh Netravalkar. Guided towards the gap between Graham and Shahan Jayasuriya, and it will sneak through for a single. Srini Raghavan, though, a 5.53 economy on the season. Absolutely not a common sight to see him get lit up the way he did in that first over, and he's looking for the comeback right here. Generally speaking, he's either been super economical or a strike bowler. He's got multiple wickets in 4 matches this season, and in the 4 matches where he did not take a wicket, he's had an economy under 4. Nice fielding off his own bowling there, reaching out to his left, and the encouragement coming. Silicon Valley, always a very chatty team in the field. It starts from Jadiwala, but we're hearing it from all parts right now. Dev Thadani and Pranay Suri at the boundaries as well. Another ball tapped here, and that is 4 dots out of those 5 deliveries from Raghavan. And absolutely caressing the tram line with that one, but he does keep it inside, not a wide. A 5th dot out of 6 balls, just 1 from Raghavan's over here in the 11th. East Bay now 79 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट पे क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
On the season, East Bay 2-1 when chasing, Silicon Valley 1-0 when batting first. Not a big sample size for any of this, but generally speaking, a lot of success. Something has to give. Those 2 run rates I pointed out to you before, the run rate scored for East Bay and the run rate required, getting even closer now. That's going to be a dot to start for Pranay Suri, who last year was one of the leading wicket takers in minor league cricket, the 30-year-old Hyderabad native and former USA Youth International. 4th in wickets last year with 26. That was just his 10th of the season, but he's taking them at about 20 runs per and bowling very economically. That one hoiked over the shoulder of Angelo Pereira for a single. You continue to hear the chat from Silicon Valley there, Gary Graham. Hard to mistake his voice. A lot of men on the offside in the infield right now for Silicon Valley. Netravalkar behind point. Graham and Parikh as well. Vikash Mohan will get himself underway with a single to the onside, pushing that one towards Ravinder Pal Singh over at mid-wicket. But singles are what Silicon Valley would like to see. We've kind of had a mirror image so far of the 2 innings. That one's tapped back to Suri. Another dot. Silicon Valley started exceedingly slow, lost a lot of early wickets, and then sped up over the course of it. East Bay getting ground down a little bit here in the middle. by a few of the Silicon Valley spin bowlers. A single here off the 5th delivery of the over. Of course, a run rate of 7, exactly what is required to get home. This one is guided back behind square. Archibald's streaking in, and they know that you test his arm at your own peril. It's a single to finish, and for the first time in this chase, East Bay are behind the necessary run rate. 83 for the loss of 4 with 8 overs left.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
.57 now needed off the final 48 balls, a required run rate just north of the 7 required for the duration of this innings to get to 140 runs and take a division crown. Silicon Valley trying to force this to a final day matchup Monday morning in Morgan Hill. Srini Raghavan stays on from the Homestead Road end. First delivery on the ground to Pranay Suri. It's going to take some doing for Silicon Valley to make this happen because they are a rather expensive bowling unit at the death this season. And East Bay are 5th in MLC in death overs scoring rate. So you know you've got possibilities. That is going to do a world of good for the East Bay Blazers as Angelo Pereira dials long distance over the top of Pranay Suri at long on. Pereira, master of the well-timed 6. Had one that just settled the nerves against SoCal last weekend against Elmore Hutchinson. A bit of extra flight there from Srini Raghavan, and that one clears the rope by a good 15 feet. Reaching out and scalding one. That's right at Ravinder Pal Singh at long off. 8 off the first 3 against Srini Raghavan, and that is going to settle the nerves considerably for the men in yellow. Dot ball here as Raghavan looks for the comeback. Correction, wide ball rather. That one also flirting with the tram line, but that'll be swept on the ground by Vikash Mohan for another single. Pereira now on 25 runs from 21 deliveries. Managed 20 for 18 yesterday without hitting a boundary, but he's hit boundaries in all but one of his other innings so far this minor league cricket season. A little quiet in Seattle, a duck rather, coming in at 4 and a 9 off 4 coming in at 6. But double digits every match since then. 12 against San Diego, 34 against SoCal, 20 against Golden State, and today so far, a quarter century against the Silicon Valley Strikers. 2 good dot balls though from Raghavan to finish off the over. 47 now needed off 42 for East Bay to take home the division title.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
The sun at long last breaking through the clouds here at 1:11 p.m. local time in Santa Clara. Thrilled to have you along here. Joe Hickey on the call of Silicon Valley versus East Bay. Vishal Tico at the controls. of our Crick Live production. That is KRIC Live production. Casper, Rafa, and Eric giving you all the angles. For a pivotal match here, it's either going to be a title claimed or a title deferred, depending on what happens in the next 42 deliveries. Pranay Suri staying on from the schoolhouse end. This one dropped into the vacant mid-wicket area. It'll just be a single as Archibald comes charging in. East Bay back ahead of the required run rate. It was a nice finish to the innings for Silicon Valley. 14, 13, 9, 6, and 19 off the death overs. It's for that reason that this match is even still in doubt at this point. But East Bay have been masters of batting at the death so far this year. Coming up on those overs very, very shortly, a pair of singles to start off Pranay Suri. We will see if Raghavan stays on at the Homestead Road end. If he does, he would continue to be alive for being the only bowler to bowl all 40 possible overs this season. That is in the air off Suri, but too straight, too fine for Jayasuriya to do much about it. That has gotten over on a couple of hops. A 4 for Vikash Mohan, his first boundary. Uses his feet to reach the pitch of the ball, a little forward and a little out to the side. Vikash looking to get himself off strike and give it back to the skipper. Netravalkar a chance at a run out there, but the throw not on target. Tension building here as Silicon Valley, with a loss here, would know they have to come back next weekend and play again for their ticket to Dallas. They'd rather do that on Monday than do it on Saturday. 100 up for East Bay with that Vikash Mohan single. Pereira back on strike, runs that to third man Saurabh Netravalkar, and they again run the quick single. Stepping forward, Vikash does not quite get to the pitch of that ball, but he gets enough of it to let he and Pereira scamper another single. 5 singles and the 1 boundary stroke from Vikash Mohan. And that'll do it for the 14th. Pranay Suri's spell done, 1 for 26. East Bay, 102 for 4.
Took that last corner pretty quick.
Sir, I need 1 hand on the roof, 1 hand on the pump.
Timeout for Sunoco Go Rewards.
Keep pumping.
With new Sunoco Go rewards, when you fuel, you save because rewards come first.
Looking around minor league cricket right now, New Jersey Stallions finished in their match against the Philadelphians with 111 for 9, setting a target of 112 for Philadelphia to claim a division title and a ticket to Dallas. If they fail to do so, then that'll be a tie atop the division, and those two teams will go off to face other squads on Sunday, looking to see which one of them wins out. Over in the Central Division, Houston Hurricanes 98 for 2 in the 14th over of their match with Lone Star Athletics. Hurricanes have their playoff hopes hanging by a thread in the Central, whereas Lone Star, if they can pick up a pair of victories, could finish as high as second behind the Dallas Mustangs, who last night claimed the Central Division title and a, well, you don't really want to say a ticket to Dallas, a bus ticket to Dallas, an Uber ride to Dallas. Nobody needs to get on a plane for that one. Great interest will be held, though, for the teams in the other match going on in the Central today between the Michigan Cricket Stars and the Chicago Kingsmen. They are presently tied for third, but if they split their series whoever finishes lower on net run rate would probably get passed by Lone Star Athletics, assuming that they pull out the sweep. And that could end up being a do-or-die game on Sunday between them. So interesting things afoot there as Umang Parikh will bowl his first over in minor league cricket since 2021, and he thought he had a wicket on the first delivery. But the indication from Sundaram Subramanian is that it's height that is the issue. Could not have possibly been the line. Left arm spin. Very well flighted. Ooh, boy, that is really close. Certainly over the knee roll. But for a spinner, you don't really know how much more that thing's actually going to bounce up. That's one heck of a return to having ball in hand here in minor league. That one pounded into the dirt. Jadiwala out to claim. Parikh taking 2 wickets in his 7 overs of work back in 2021. Was 1 for 16 in his last outing, but that all those runs coming in 1 over. Little expensive, but definitely capable of striking, and Silicon Valley would love another one here. Another one pounded into the ground, another dot as Gary Graham grabs it. Do wonder if they're saving one of Srini Raghavan for the death overs. That one tapped into the vacant mid-wicket area. A single there as Vikash Mohan gets himself off strike after soaking up a little bit of pressure from the 2023 debutant. Pereira now at 27 from his 25. He's had a pair of big sixes. Loves to drive over long on, so here at our commentary position, which is at a very fine long on, we're just going to brace ourselves. 2 left off of the Parikh over, 2 left off the middle overs here of this big matchup. Hit hard toward long on, but this one on the ground to Shehan Jayasuriya for a single. Big sweep to backward square, and that's going to be another single. 105 now for the loss of 4. East Bay Blazers have scored exactly 7 runs and over. They need 7s from here to claim this division title. 105 for 4.
वक्त आ गया है लक्ष्मी बासमती राइस को घर लाने का। लक्ष्मी एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग बासमती राइस। इसका हर दाना हो इतना लंबा, पकते हुए महके और प्लेट में क्या खूब खिले।
हाँ, मेरे घर लाने का।
Death overs about to get underway. 35 needed from 30. We'll see who Pranay Suri wants to send out there. He has bowled himself out. He's got 2 more of Netravalkar. Archibald bowled just the 1, which went for 12. Raghavan's got 1 more in the bank. As we take a look here at the batting card, Ganesh and Krishnamurthy having their innings cut a little bit unexpectedly short by a pair of runouts. David White claimed by a spectacular Lahiru Milantha catch. And Ganesh clean bowled by Pranay Suri. It's going to be Saurabh Netravalkar practicing his run up here. He is going to take here in the 16th 1 of those 2 remaining overs. I've only seen 1 of Archibald, 1 of Dev Tadani. 3 of Shahan Jayasuriya. We'll see whether they're going to look for any spin, be it off spin or left-handed spin, in these last few. In the case of Srini Raghavan, it might be a question of keeping alive his candidacy to bowl the maximum 40 overs in minor league cricket. No one else can still do that, but he has bowled his full complement each of the first 8 matches. Here comes Saurabh. That one almost a photocopy of the ball that dismissed David White, and this time it's Rahul Jadiwala nearly getting to it. Goodness gracious. If they'd had a slip, it would have been right into his belly. Off the splice of the bat, maybe even off the glove, and Rahul Jadiwala at full stretch just could not squeeze it. Netravalkar, a maiden in his first over, and then went for 15 in his second. That in the air, and Gary Graham puts it down. Back-to-back deliveries. Saurabh Netravalkar nearly picking up wicket number 2 on 2 consecutive balls. The first one would have been extraordinary by Jadiwala. This one, I'll be honest, you expect Gary to pouch that. I don't think he would mind me saying that. One of our better inner circle fielders puts one down here. Will that be division title defining? Here comes Saurabh. In on the body, and it picks up the hand of Angelo Pereira. Another dot ball. Don't let it get lost amidst the pyrotechnics and the near dismissals. One off the first 3. Netravalkar back in his economical way. That expensive over came courtesy mostly of Sanjay Krishnamurthy, but also featured the run out amidst it. So that one is tapped to long off. Another single. Netravalkar with the wicket maiden took the wicket of David White with the assistance of that astonishing Lahiru Milantha catch. The second over was 2 for Ganesh, 2 for Ganesh, single for Ganesh, and then the weird run out that hit Saurabh's hand and caromed onto the stumps. And then Krishnamurthy hit him for a 4 and a 6, as if to say, hey, don't do that. Vikash Mohan will hoik and guide that one to long on for a single. 3 so far. Netravalkar looking to apply the pressure and perhaps a death blow. Deep men mostly in front of Pereira besides the deep third man, Srinivas Raghavan. Final delivery of the over. Tapped to the offside, that is going to be a single, and Angelo Pereira will keep the strike. 4 off of it, a little bit behind the 7s that were needed from this point forward. East Bay, 109 for the loss of 4.
What's up, Doug? What got into you?
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. Fuel your best.
.31 needed from the final 24 balls. These matches between Silicon Valley and East Bay, as of late, never boring. Last season, on the premium stream, Up at Morgan Hill, Silicon Valley and East Bay played a thriller that went down to the final delivery. Kulvinder Singh, who we'll potentially see in action later on this afternoon with the Golden State Grizzlies, was responsible in that one for defending a 4-run lead in the final over. Later on, East Bay, a little bit more clinically, would finish off a chase and deliver the only regular season loss that Silicon Valley took all last year. Went 13-1, won the division title for the first time, only to be eliminated in the Pacific Conference Final by the Seattle Thunderbolts, who we will also see in our late game today and as well as our lone game on Sunday. What does this one have in store? With 24 balls left, the next 6 have been entrusted to Dev Thadani. Dev so far a single 9-run over. Back at the end of the power play. First delivery, hoiked in the air, that is going to fall in front of backward square. Lahiro Milantha to it, holds it to just a single as the ball comes in. Thadani, part of an important cricket family as far as USA Cricket is concerned. Dev, a rising star here among the men's players, somebody who's gotten better year on year. Sister Suhani, recently the player of the match in the USA Women's Championship final. Well struck, but directly at Shahan Jayasuriya. Textbook fielding in the deep, holds that to another single. With the required rate just about touching 8s. East Bay need to start thinking about taking a few 2s or looking for a boundary every couple of overs from here on out. Thadani looking to keep his line tight and hoping to give his fielders some chances. That one's in the air over the top of the man at mid-off. Archibald up with it. This time the 2 that is needed. Gonna have to have a couple of those each over or a 4 here and there. The man on strike, Pereira, a pair of 6s already today. One of those would certainly loosen things up. That one's in the air, could be a chance. Ravi Singh makes the catch, and Angelo Pereira, looking for that pressure release 6, will be shown the door on 33 from 33. The bucket hands at long off of Ravinder Pal Singh. They've wrapped themselves around the cricket ball. Have they wrapped themselves around an opportunity for Silicon Valley to play for a division title on Monday? Still 20 balls left to find that out, but this goes a long way in that direction. Thadani claiming the big death overs wicket. He's taken some tap this year to the tune of a 9.89 economy in the death overs. But you can't question a result like that. Ravi Singh, the big catch, the celebration. Silicon Valley looked dead in the water for about 12 or 13 overs of their first innings. East Bay looked like they were going to run away with this run chase through the power play. But this is what these two teams do. This is what Silicon Valley does over and over and over again. They're always in it. Just the 2 losses this season, they came inside their first 3 games. 21-run loss to SoCal Lashings in their opener. They fell as well in their first of 2 matches up in Seattle at Tollgate Farms. They got back to 500 on the back of a Shahan Jayasuriya masterclass, batting on a very tough wicket. Swept a pair in Davis, won in dominant fashion with Lahiro Milantha and Rahul Jadiwala batting to a 97-run partnership. The other, some shambolic Golden State fielding, allowing them to take it home. And then 2 wins One cool as you like against SoCal. And the other a little tighter against San Diego. Looking to pull a rabbit out of a hat here. Thadani's first delivery to the new man at the crease, Hamza Tarek, will be another single. East Bay managing to continue the run a ball pace, but that is going to leave them now needing potentially 8s from the final handful of overs. 5 wickets down. Still with CP Rizwan and Nawaz Khan in the shed, 2 very able batsmen. Last delivery of the 17th. It's been a good one here from Thadani. That one is scorched straight back over the bowler's head, and that is going to run away for 4, and that is a big hit in the context of this run chase. The over goes for 9 now instead of what appeared to be 6, maybe 7, as Hamza Tarek, who is no stranger to big late hits for this team, gets a big one there. 18 balls left, 22 needed from them. East Bay 118 for 5. Saurabh Netravalkar will bowl his last over here in the 18th. We'll see exactly how they stitch together the 19th and 20th here. My apologies, I misidentified the hitter of that 4. Tarek had gotten himself off strike with the single. That was Vikash Mohan going up the middle for a boundary that puts him at a run a ball 20, his second 4 of this encounter. Saurabh Netravalkar barely over a run a ball. A wicket as a bowler, 1 as well as a fielder on that run out. First delivery run down to 3rd man. This time legitimately by Hamza Tarek, and a single. Srinivas Raghavan wincing a little bit out here at the boundary. Seems to be holding his non-bowling hand. I do wonder if that's got anything to do with why we haven't seen him back at the crease for his 4th over, or if he's being saved for the 19th or the 20th. 21 needed off 17. Mohan looking for the reverse scoop. Does not make contact. Vikash, an interesting journey this season for the 28-year-old native of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Reprised his role that he has in West Indies domestic List A cricket as an opener in the absence of Saideep Ganesh. Did nicely there, but back in as a finisher. A 170 strike rate last year at the death. Looking to dial up just a little bit of that to get East Bay over the line. That one's in the air. It's going to fall in front of the man at long off. Good run and snag by Lahiru Milantha. It'll be a pair. 3 off the first 3 here in the final Netravalkar over. Vikash, as an opener, did excellent work. Part of 450 partnerships. Only out once inside the power play. If he stays in, that would certainly condition any thoughts of bowling spin at the end. He has been fantastic against spinners. 120 strike rate overall, 173 against offies. That one to mid-wicket. Nobody out there, long run. It's going to hold up in the grass, so it will not be 4. But another 2 here as Vikash Mohan looks to lop these off in chunks. 17 now needed off of 14. protection at long on, long off. Sweeper cover, third man, and mid-wicket. Mohan trying to get over the field again. This time it stays on the infield. Not a clean pickup, though, for Pranay Suri. And another single. Six so far off of it. A 2 would again put them exactly at needing 7s, having gotten 7s to this point. Final ball of the Saurabh Netravalkar spell, 1 for 25. Fending at that one, but it'll go through to Rahul Jariwala without a touch. And it stays 1 for 25, barely over a run a ball. The wicket early of Lahiri Milanta, as well as the run out of Saideep Ganesh, responsible for taking out both openers. Saurabh Netravalkar, he's made his contribution. 12 balls left, 16 needed from them. East Bay 124 for 5. And we'll stay on here through the duration of this break. And just remind you again, what's at stake, what we've got going on standings-wise. East Bay Blazers enter the day at 7-1. Silicon Valley 6-2, both with 2 matches remaining, this one and the one scheduled for Monday. If East Bay can get this chase over the line, they will claim their first ever Western Division title. They will punch their ticket alongside the Dallas Mustangs, who took care of business last night, for a trip to Grand Prairie. Silicon Valley, if they can hold on, would draw level at 7-2 with the Blazers. And in doing so would force a winner-take-all Monday game for the Western Division crown. Whoever ends up in second in the division is back here next week to take on Golden State or Seattle in the 2-versus-3 wildcard playoff. Of course, the identity of that team to be decided in a pair of games taking place this afternoon and tomorrow morning here in Santa Clara. It's where all the action is. Dev Thadani will bowl the penultimate over. First delivery to Vikash Mohan. Is going to be an opportunity here for 2. The throw down to Jariwala. Handled, but not close enough to direct towards the stumps. 2 taken off the first against Thadani. Vikash getting his shoes back in shape here. By and large, controlled the strike since Hamza Tariq came out. It is good to know, though, the man at the other end, more than capable, as you see the Trinidad or Trinbago Red Steel logo on that helmet. A little piece of home for Vikash Mohan. Good to know he's got a man at the other end familiar with late game heroics. But for now, Vikash wants to get it done himself. Pulls that one to mid-wicket. Could be another pair. Long run for Ravi Singh. He gets there in time, and they'll turn back Hamza Tariq. Hamza so far 2 off 3. He has actually got the second highest average in Major League Cricket right now. Currently sitting at 93, as he has only been dismissed once this season. The only man with a higher one is Hassan Khan of the Chicago Kingsmen, who is 209 for 1 on the season. First delivery run down to third man. That's going to be a single. Srini unable to pick it up cleanly. He's been getting those hands battered a little bit here today. Unless he's bowling the 20th, we are not going to have anyone in minor league cricket bowl the maximum 40 overs this regular season. A very, very small subplot, but a subplot nonetheless. 4 off the first 3 against Thadani. That's the rate that East Bay need to go at. That one is crunched to long off, but it's on one big hop to Pranay Suri for a single. Need some StatCast exit velo on that one. But it's just the one run there, well handled by Pranay Suri. Hits that one off his own foot. Devdadani struggling to find it for a moment there. For that matter, Vikash Mohan, or rather Hamza Tariq, struggling to find it. It's going to be a dot ball. Valuable one here for Silicon Valley as they look to give themselves something to protect in the final over. Who's going to get the ball for it? Could be Archibald. Could be Jayasuriya. Could be Srinivas Raghavan. For the time being, there's 11 potentially to protect. Number 11, Hamza Tariq, at the crease, looking to eat into that on the final ball of the 19th. That is crunched and well wide of Pranay Suri, and that is going to run away for a 4. A short ball there from Devdadani, and perhaps a bit of frustration from his teammate Shahan Jayasuriya at the placement of that delivery. Digs it into the pitch, comes up to hip height, stand and deliver, and Hamza Tariq, just like that, chops the needed runs back down to 7. They've gone at exactly 7 runs and over for the first 19. They need 7 from the 20th to take it home. 133 for 5. This 20th over, soon to be bowled from the schoolhouse end of this Santa Clara ground. As a reminder, stick around. Keep the MLC network page open on your browser, because we've got more cricket coming to you. Scheduled start time of 2:15 p.m. Might be a little bit later after the switchover of team pavilions and taking care of the pitch with the roller, all that good stuff. But we do have Golden State Grizzlies, Seattle Thunderbolts coming up. The only question right now is, will they know who's waiting for their victor in the 2 versus 3 playoff? Or is that question going to need to wait until Monday to be answered? 7 needed off 6. I'll remind you, last year, East Bay needed 5 off 6 in the final over against Kulvinder Singh to try to get it done. It is going to be Srinivas Raghavan, the left-arm spinner, to bookend this game. They gave him the first over at the beginning of the power play, and we'll just say it didn't go so great. East Bay were monsters in the power play. But we're at the point now where the Worms have just about touched one another at this point. East Bay still a little ahead. They had nearly a 10-run and over power play against the likes of Srini Raghavan, Colin Archibald, who was basically batted out of the attack in 1 over. Even got to Saurabh Netravalkar for 15 after he bowled a wicket maiden. It's going to be Raghavan here, 7 to defend off 6. First delivery is a wide, and you absolutely cannot afford that at this moment. Free run, make it 6 off 6 required. That one targeting the stumps. That is in the air, chasing after it, and watching it fly away is Ravi Singh. And Vikash Mohan with a 6 on the first delivery has sent East Bay Blazers to the playoffs in style and all the way to Texas. Many Major League cricketers in this roster, they're going to be excited to head back to Grand Prairie. Vikash Mohan, in one swing of the bat, takes care of it The only bit of doubt we had as we looked at Shailendra Raj was whether that was going to be given as a 4 or a 6. But that is that. With 5 balls remaining, East Bay Blazers a 5-wicket victory here today. And East Bay are winners of the division here. This Western Division claiming its 3rd champion in 3 years. It was Golden State Grizzlies back in 2021. It was Silicon Valley Strikers last year. It's the East Bay Blazers now. All 3 NorCal teams have had a taste. And it is time now for the pavilion to greet them as we take a look at the batting card and take a bow. Vikash Mohan and Angelo Pereira, responsible for nearly half the runs that they had to knock off just between the two of them. They had a stellar power play. Saideep Ganesh going for nearly a 2 runs a ball, 17. Sanjay Krishnamurthy, 27 off 15. Both of them run out, in one case, in very unlucky form, or a very unlucky scenario. Sanjay Krishnamurthy, on the other hand, run out from a bit of brilliance from Colin Archibald and Rahul Jadiwala. David White not able to make much of a contribution today, but the rest of the team able to pick him up. We talked before about the Lahiru Milantha situation, the bellwether. This team now 2-3 in matches where he scores 13 runs or fewer. Srini Raghavan a bit expensive there. His spell bookended by 12 runs in the first, and then the big 6 after the wide to get over the line. Just 1 wicket each for Saurabh Netravalkar, Dev Thadani, and Pranay Suri. 2 of the 5 came by virtue of runouts. Shahan Jayasurya, his usual economical self. Colin Archibald batted out of the attack in 1 over. Pranay Suri bowled his entire spell. Only he and Saurabh did. 6.5 runs per for him. Very nicely done. And Umang Parikh, just the 1 over contribution there. 3 runs as Silicon Valley looked to apply pressure and take this chase all the way down the wire. Let's take a look at how we got to this final result with East Bay Blazers claiming the Western Division title. It was Saideep Ganesh with the early signs of intent, batting against Srinivas Raghavan. A 6 there, and then a flat 4, rather. I'm sorry, I think it was the 4 first, then the 6. Nope, I had it right the first time. Trust yourself, Hickey. Come on now. Big first over. Saurabh Netravalkar, though, came in, took the edge of David White, and Lahiru Milantha took a screamer at slip to dismiss 1 of the 2 openers. That would bring in Sanjay Krishnamurthy. And against Colin Archibald, after soaking up a couple of dot balls, he would hit a 4 off a no ball. And a couple of wides later, Sanjay would go boom over long off. A big 6 there. We wouldn't see any more of Archibald in the attack from that point forward. Netravalkar now against Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and a shocking way for Saideep Ganesh to go out as he's run out. The ball just taking a deflection off of Netravalkar's fingertips onto the stumps. Sanjay would punish Netravalkar for dismissing his teammate, though. A 4 first to cow corner. And then this rocket over extra cover. Big 6 there. Sanjay would finish with a fantastic 27 off 15, courtesy as well of this other 6 that he hit. Dev Thadani into the attack in the 6th over. This ball would be run down to the boundary rope here. Next ball, Colin Archibald, very chill with it, almost puts Sanjay Krishnamurthy to sleep, and Jadiwala able to run him out with a one-handed catch and toss directly onto the stumps. That would be all for Sanjay Krishnamurthy. Pair of runouts to dismiss 2 guys that looked to be well on their way to big innings. First big innings of the day, though, would belong to Angelo Pereira, 33 off 33, and he announced his intent with that big 6 early. Aditya Ganesh blown up here by Pranay Suri on the final ball of the first half. 78 for 4. East Bay were still very much in control at that point. We would see the new man at the crease, Vikash Mohan, go deep, straight back over the head of the bowler. Liked it so much, he went ahead and did it again. Couple of early boundaries for him. Mohan off the splice of the bat. This was a big chance late in the piece. Rahul Jadiwala just barely unable to hold on to that one off of Netravalkar in the 16th. And then the 2 balls later, Gary Graham unable to hold that. Could have had Anji Pereira there, could have had Vikash Mohan before. Didn't get either of them. And they ended up paying for it. Dev Thadani dispatched this one, getting rid at long last of the skipper Angelo Pereira on that ball straight down the throat of Ravinder Pal Singh. That would be the last wicket they would claim, though, there in the 17th over. Thadani, entrusted with the penultimate over, gives up a couple of boundaries late. There's one. There's another. And that one spectacularly important, as it gave them just 7 to defend off the final over. Srinivas Raghavan, after a wide, dispatched over long on. Ravi Singh thought he might have another late big wicket to wrap his paws around, but instead it flies over his head, over the rope, and that's all she wrote. 35 from Mohan, 33 from Pereira, 27 from Krishnamurthy to pace the chase. Neither of them get to the 40 authored by Gary Graham to make this worthy of a defense. Netravalkar, Suri, and Thadani each taking wickets, but none of them able to keep their run rate under a run a ball. Thadani expensive late, and that ends up giving them just not enough to defend off the final over. So that'll do it here for our first game from Santa Clara. A 5-wicket win for the Blazers with 5 balls remaining. Congratulations to them. They're on their way to Texas. They will, of course, have one last match on Monday, but it's going to be a dead rubber. Silicon Valley, same deal. They are definitely going to finish second here in the division and will be hosting the playoff next week. Who are they going to play? Well, we've got a 2-act drama coming up this afternoon and tomorrow morning to decide that. Golden State Grizzlies, Seattle Thunderbolts. Do not miss it. For our crew here, the Crick Live Productions crew of Vishal Tiku on the controls, Casper, Eric, and Rafa on the camera work. I am Joe Hickey. Looking forward to seeing you again in about a half hour's time for more minor league cricket here, presented by Sunoco and Lakshmi House of Spices. See you again real soon.